The college football experience, week 8 preview, picks, and draft for 2024. Yes, that episode on the on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter on Underdog Fantasy. Pick 'em. Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Day merch sale. Yes, I know Memorial Day is over, but the month is not. We got a couple days. Slide on in there. 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code SGPN May. Act now as the season, the sale for the season of, May ends on Friday. So do that, and remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
I didn't know May was the season, Patty.
And you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
It's gonna be May.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. 2024, week 8 preview and draft. Oh, you didn't catch the opening 8 weeks, because week 0 is a week. Go check them all out, folks. They're all there for you. We talk college football year round, and I have a lot of fun with this exercise, and we've been doing it for years. So check it out. And we have just recorded our first team preview. So get ready. June 1st, team previews hit. We're going through all 134 FBS college football teams on the college football experience. Subscribe, watch them all. YouTube.com/the college experience. Hit that like and subscribe button there too. And don't forget the FCS college football experience. Myself and Gulf Coast Guru talking all college football. We love it all. Shout out to the chat. Timothy Greed and Rob Donaldson already in there rocking along. Rob says he loves the season of May. Loves the season of May. You gotta love it. That's magazine season. That's when the college football magazines start coming out. You start listening to us. Well, I mean, hopefully you're always listening to us, but perhaps if you're not, maybe you're wondering who the hell you're listening to. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're gonna pay for it. Good night.
I got a DM a couple weeks back, maybe it was a month ago, that I shouldn't intro with that. It turns people off. The David Thompson part.
David Thompson is an American legend,
right? Lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. I find it funny, and if they don't like me,
you say the P word?
Yeah. Yes, David Thompson might have said that right after that clip too. But I am joined by my co-host. He is, over there looking like Captain Fucking America. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing. Patty C is the place to be.
Hi.
Let's get it going.
Man, Captain America really let himself go.
The captain. This is the 2024 Captain America. Look, obesity is up. I am a representation of America right now.
You think Captain America ever had a burrito in the middle of his battles?
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the real Captain America. Fuck that handsome shield-bearing whatever son of a gun.
Shield bearing.
I'm an ugly beer wielding superhero.
Patty C known to have a burrito in the middle of a fucking game. Captain America? I haven't read all the comic books. Maybe there's one where he's in the middle of an epic battle and he just stops for a burrito.
Gotta be.
He would be
could
more
see it.
American if he did.
I would be more inclined to check out that comic book if they did that. We are joined by third man in the booth, the DFS god himself. We're still playing UFL DFS. Subscribe to the UFL Gambling Podcast. But give it up for when the college football season comes around, the DFS will be flying off the shelves. We got episodes and everything. But give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free luck giving farmer, Herndon Basketball League MVP. Good for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's up, guys?
Oh yeah, let's go. That's what's up. Drink time. I'm gonna open up a bar one day. I'm gonna demand the local talent to play this song.
Damn right.
Right at happy hour, 5:00.
Is your bar going to be called Bosworth?
That's not a bad name for a joint.
I like it.
You know what I mean?
Didn't you tell me that our neck of the woods, Venice, Santa Monica, Bosworth used to used to party hard in the 80s?
Where did I hear this great story? Yes, when Stone Cold was being made, I heard a great story. Where the fuck did I hear that though? I don't remember that.
Probably during your bartending
Oh
days.
no, I think it. I heard. I think I know. I think I heard it. I'll tell that story on another day. But yes, Bosworth used to dominate. He went to Plowtown with about every hot chick in Los Angeles or maybe the world. If you haven't seen the movie Stone Cold, what the fuck you doing with your life?
He's got a permanent residence in Plowtown, USA.
He does. He was like Ric Flair of football. If we're really talking about this, he really was.
Why do so many shows start off with us talking about Bosworth?
It's that song. It's that song, and we
The guy who
appreciate
hasn't
it.
played football in 35 years.
Hey, I like to alienate our crowd, right? I like to make sure.
Make sure we know who's really
Brian
with
Bosworth,
us.
That's right.
AKA
We
the
are
Boss, and you're listening to
curating
SGPN.
our listeners.
Let it ride, brother.
And by that, I mean minimizing.
Peace out. Bars out.
So here we are. Week 8 draft. I mean, this is our college football news. That's all bullshit. People try to start rumors. People try to start these rumors. Utah, the ACC, get the fuck out of here. So we're just gonna jump right into this draft. If you haven't seen this before, we first off we have some fire graphics that old Pick Dundee made that you'll see in a second here. YouTube.com/the college experience. But yeah, we pretty much draft the top 30 games of the week. Also a Lou Holtz what the fuck game of the week. And a FCS game of the week. We talk about why it's awesome and why college football is the greatest thing to ever hit planet Earth, and that's pretty much it.
Usually, I pick the best games. Colby picks Big 12 games, and Patty C is a wild card.
Well, let's talk about this. First off, you pick ACC games
And
that
weekday
no one cares about, and yeah, weekday Nick.
Colby picks Colorado and ECU every week.
Yeah.
In the top 10 usually.
Well, let's be honest, they're two of the most intriguing programs year in and year out. But in general, week 8, your overall thoughts, because I did want to talk about something before we actually start the draft. NC Nick, but what did you think of week 8?
Again, strong up top with a couple maybe 2 or 3 really big time games, but like we've been saying, it lacks depth. There's a lot of times or new games with realignment where these teams have never played each other before or only a couple times in the past. The really saving grace here is that this is the first week where weekday football really kicks in. We got 3 games Tuesday, 2 Wednesday, 2 Thursday, 3 games on Friday, all Power 4 teams. So as far as the weekday, fantastic.
Yeah. And I want to address something. One of the things I noticed from looking at the week 8 schedule, my most hated conference is what, Patty C?
You're the Big 10.
Big
Yes.
10.
Let me just show you the amount of Big 10 shit that we have. All right. I have a nice photo of the Big 10 replacing Jeff Goldblum's face in Jurassic Park as he's looking at a pile of shit. And these are Pick Dundee's Big 10 shit. This another chapter of Pick Dundee's Big 10 shit that they're dealing out this week in week 8 of college football.
I'm going to agree with 90% of this. There's one game on there that I don't think is shit.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the barn burner that you can't wait to see there?
no barn burner that I can't. I mean, most of it is complete dog shit. I mean, you can't say Northwestern at Wisconsin's a terrible game.
That's
what? Dude, Northwestern was what 8-win team last year, and Wisconsin was a bowl team.
That's not a game you look forward to every year. That's like Wake Forest taking on Syracuse, and sometimes they're both bowl teams.
Sure, I wouldn't call that like absolute dog shit though.
I would, especially with Wisconsin going to the air raid. They had one win against a team with a winning record last year.
I'd say the bottom 2 games are semi-interesting.
Yeah, Michigan Illinois I thought was the best game.
What?
Yeah,
Michigan Illinois is a 15.
Nick, you agree?
Well, it's either that or Iowa, Michigan State. So I think the bottom 2 are semi-decent and belong to be played. And then I guess if you want to say Oregon, Purdue, because it is Friday night, I mean, we'll be tuning in, but it probably won't be all that close.
Dude, this out of all the conferences that are playing week 8, first off, I think it's all about my analysis of week 8 would be the SEC and Big 12 dominated this thing. The ACC snuck in a couple good ones, but the Big 10, I find all of these games very
Iowa and Michigan State. And Michigan State, well, Jonathan Smith, it's too early in his tenure to really. But the fact that it's on the road for Iowa makes that a little bit compelling.
Yeah, that could be a close game. You got 5 or 6 games under his belt now.
I'm just saying, if you were to compare this to other conferences, this
pretty bad.
There's
a load of shit.
Pathetic.
By the way, your guys' selection of Michigan Illinois about being a compelling game is a 15-win team against a 4-win team. That is the single Michigan and Illinois.
But once again, like Illinois should have beat them 2 years ago. That stupid call. My point is
like,
I
think Illinois is going to rebound a little bit.
But I also don't think Michigan's going to be nearly as good as a year ago.
Okay.
So like, I actually think if I had to rank these, that would be the most exciting. Michigan and Illinois.
Well, I do like.
Second would be Iowa, Michigan State.
I've drawn a blank on Michigan's new coach right off the top of my head.
Sharon Moore.
Moore versus Bielema.
My Sharona.
My Sharona. That's all. That's big boy football, and those are big boy coaches. You guys know I like a rotund to coach, and both of those guys fit the bill. So I don't know. Sharon Moore is trimmed up a little bit. He's still got a big body, but I don't think he's that fat.
What are you talking about, Patty?
Yeah.
I like fat coaches. Okay, and they play a physical brand of football.
No,
Look, it may be boring to you, Nick, but some of us like physical football.
I completely agree with what Colby's saying, and really, we're coming to the point where we can only really compare the Big Ten to the SEC. Personally, in the top 10 games this week, I have 5 of them SEC games. I have 0 Big Ten games.
Yeah, I thought
that's the competition.
No, I'll be honest. I had 1 in my top 30. 1 fucking Big Ten game. With a conference with 18 fucking teams.
See, I'm going off the hip here, so I haven't pre-made my list. I guess we have news to get to. I don't know if there was any development. I barely saw it cross my screen. I thought it was hilarious. Utah being
that was bullshit. Dude.
That was rumored that
yeah. I think it's clickbait, man. All this realignment stuff. So much of it's clickbait.
But why would they ever do that? That would be the stupidest thing ever. That's the most uncertain ground.
Right.
Big 12 has a contract moving forward. You know what I mean? Like,
why would you leave us? I mean,
I knew from the start, but then their AD did tweet out something saying that was all fabricated.
Gotcha.
But I just knew they would never do that from the start because it's like
you're leaving a perfect home for yourself.
Well, just
and
the
more
home,
secure ground.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And for what?
Yeah.
Because to play Stanford and Cal? Get the fuck out of here.
Although they weren't among the teams or was it Arizona State? One of those teams that you would think shouldn't have a huge allegiance.
Arizona State, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Big Ten shit coming to your local town. Check it out. This season, moving forward, Big Ten shit coming to your local town. All right, well, let's drop into this draft because NC Nick's on the clock, and let's fire away. Where the hell's my draft music? You can't win. Here we go.
Well, I think it's the crown jewel of all the realignment games this season. And you have it first on your graphic. And I think most people, if they're smart, are going to choose Georgia at Texas. I don't think I had to sell this one much. I will say the last time a traditional SEC school went to Austin, Alabama was very lucky to get out of there with the W.
Oh, that was bullshit.
It was a bullshit call with that safety.
Bullshit. And the face mask, the lag. That was one of the more ridiculous games. I feel like Texas won that game, but they just didn't give it to them.
But either the winner of this team is probably definitely in the SEC championship. The loser still might also, and both these teams will probably be in the college football playoff.
You know, Texas is 4-1 all the time against Georgia, and Georgia's only win was a 10-9 Cotton Bowl win in '84.
Not sure that has that much bearing on this game. I think Georgia has elevated themselves to a top tier that they've never been on previously.
Now I'll say this:
with Herschel Walker, but I think Georgia's probably.
How did Georgia finagle this game on the schedule the week after the Red River Shootout? It's such a great spot for Georgia.
Yeah,
it's such a great spot for Georgia.
I don't think it's Georgia finagling that. I think it's probably the SEC.
But still, I mean, it's like.
They do travel to Texas at least though.
Still, it's like Texas just goes to, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I love this game on the schedule. This is one of the good ones. I would say, like I said, the realignment, the Big Ten bullshit coming to your town every week. But this is one of the ones where I think it works. Georgia, Texas. I made the mistake of putting verse. It's at Darrell K. Royal Stadium. Me and NC Nick have been a little. We've had a few Jaeger bombs there, but yeah. How do you see your thoughts on this game?
Well, obviously, the fact that it's in Texas poses a major problem for Georgia, and potentially costing them a bye if Texas has a great year. Now, granted, hosting a game probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for Georgia to have to do, but who knows? I mean, there could be some chaos. A little bit tougher of a slate than Georgia's probably used to, with Alabama also on the slate. So if they catch a couple L's in there. Both of those games being on the road, then maybe Georgia finds themselves on the road in the first round of the playoffs. So this does, the winner of this game is likely to be the 1 seed. I don't know. Texas might have a couple losses on their slate, but still, you got to figure between those 4 conferences, even if there's an extra loss for an SEC team, they're going to put them as the 1 seed.
Ohio State might have something.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's correctly played, and yeah, I think it's the number 1 game of the week. And I think the SEC I thought this was just SEC and Big 12, but mainly the SEC at the top. But I thought the Big 12 had a very deep week. We'll get to it all, but I think I mentioned this on a show that is yet to come out. But I mean, pre Nick Saban, if you go from 2000 to 2006, I think it is, Tennessee was 5-1 against Alabama. There's no more Nick Saban at Alabama. What do they call this? Third Saturday in October.
Mm-hmm.
They've been playing this for 123 years. It's goddamn college football at its finest. They took the, if anything, Alabama, I hope you fucking lose because you're little bitches with the way you handled. Oh my God! They stormed the field and took the goalpost to the Tennessee River, and it became a thing on social media.
Alabama really?
They're the ones that complained and Sankey, and they tried to issue larger fines for storming the field, even though we know that is college football. That if you look back at that season 2 years ago, you can barely remember who won the national championship. But guess what? You don't forget. You don't forget the great Tennessee fans taking the goddamn goalpost to the Tennessee River. That is college football, and that is why this game should be played. And I hope they beat the shit out of the Tide in this game because of the way they handled it. Nick Saban, your athletic director, all you little bitches there in Tuscaloosa. All right, Tennessee, Alabama, let's go. Third Saturday in October. It's the third Saturday for Alabama to be little bitches. Let's go.
Apparently, Colby's still bitter about that, man.
I thought that was ridiculous.
Can really hold a grudge.
I thought that was ridiculous.
I kind of forgot about all that.
Well, because they're still complaining about that.
I agree.
They mentioned it for the court storming shit. That started the court storming shit.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
It might be 2 years in a row that Rocky Top has been the best scene in college football.
Yeah, it's an amazing stadium.
When they had the blackout, I think it was last year.
Blackout. What happened last year?
They went where they wore the all black uniforms. I don't know what. I forget what against who it was against, but I think it was a nighttime game. It was just a phenomenal scene. Rocky Top really showed out there.
They do college football right in Knoxville. All right.
Yeah. Oh, this could be a similar scene, especially if Alabama has gotten a win over Georgia by this point in the season, pulls an upset there.
Yeah.
Then this game has.
Or they just take the reins year one without Saban. They say this is ours. And the last time Saban came here, we beat the tar out of them by 3. But
yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
We do have to mention that Saban's record against Tennessee was 17-1.
Yeah. Guess what? Saban didn't completely
That
abandon
fucking
the
Burger
program.
King money did not work out for Jeremy Pruitt. And he put a mole, and Saban put a mole in Knoxville. Jeremy Pruitt.
That's right. He's like,
But
It's like,
he's playing 3D chess.
I do think the game. I guess it's better now because Tennessee has a better chance of winning. But it was the ultimate upset a couple years ago. That was so much fun to watch that game. And I don't hate on Bama, but just to see Tennessee, who had lost 16 straight or something, finally get that win over Alabama, that was fantastic.
but wait. You should hate on Bama for the way they handled
Oh,
that loss.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
They deserve all of it. Like I said, I grew up loving the Alabama teams early 90s, but they handled that like little bitches. All right. And by the way, we still have that Tennessee Take Me to the River t-shirt in the merch store.
Nice.
All right. Take Me to the River t-shirt. Go out there. That is college football. All right. But yeah, Patty C, what do you think of Alabama, Tennessee? All-time series, like I said, goes back to 1900, I believe, or 1901.
What's
now,
it at?
Alabama does have a 20-game lead, but it's 19 after this one, buddy.
I mean, if you go back 17 years, or 18 years, I mean, this game was pretty dead even prior to Saban's arrival. So maybe without him being there, it returns to a 50-50 game in Tennessee. That bodes well for the Vols. I don't know. I think this is like one of we kind of just went over Alabama's schedule in our first preview that we did. I don't know if I'm leaking that information early, but
It's okay. All right.
we're gonna get there.
We're not gonna make you go to Russia like Snowden. All right.
Yeah. No WikiLeaks here, but TCE leaks. Look, I think Tennessee can win. I think they can win. It's a very dangerous game for them.
I think they're gonna be favored.
Hey, look, 2 SEC games at the top of the rankings. Where are you at, Big Ten?
Yeah, we know where let me show you where the Big Ten's at. Let me show you. The Big Ten is right here. All right, Big Ten shit coming to your local town this year. Once again, Big Ten shit. Pick Dundee's Big Ten shit coming to your local town.
I'm tempted to put a third, but I'm not going to.
The third what? Oh,
A third
SEC.
straight
No, I
SEC.
think you can make the case. Patty C is on the clock. Where are you taking us, buddy?
I am taking us to Provo, Oklahoma State. Like we said, Ollie Gordon returning. The quarterback gets the 7th year. I'm drawing a blank on
Alan
it.
Bowman.
Bowman gets his. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they get BYU or Utah at home this year makes Oklahoma State on a very short list of Big 12 contenders. Provo has typically been a very difficult place.
This is a Friday night game too. Weekday Nick's happy about this.
I am.
Oh yeah. Let's get the weekday in the top 3.
And what BYU had them on the ropes last year. You remember that one in Stillwater? The season went to overtime. Yeah. Another thing I want to say though is we'll go back to this game, but Lane Elliott, that's my fuck up on that's not a neutral site game. That is in Austin. My fuck up. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a series. BYU, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's never lost to BYU. 3-0 all time. Can this be the first for Kalani Sitake, who I would say is on the hot seat?
Big year. Big year for Sitake.
NC Nick, your thoughts on Oklahoma State heading into Provo?
I believe I mentioned it last week. BYU is a team. It's a good Provo in general is a great place to ride a dog. It's a home dog. And whenever I see the top of the Big 12 travel to places like Provo, like BYU, that's when I want to tune in. My team is playing Friday night also, but I got to admit and say this game is better than the Duke game that's also on Friday night. So I had it right up here in this same area too. So yeah, nice game.
Alrighty.
Duke was that other game was definitely in play too. So I thought about it.
I don't know.
We'll see what Manny Diaz.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, the all-time series in that game. We'll get to that game. I won't
Yeah.
break it just yet. But the
I
all-time
don't know
series
if that
is not in Duke's
deserves to be
favor.
played that high. Folks, I want to tell you, you're listening to the College Football Experience. We are part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and part of the College Experience feed. The College Experience is thriving right now, but it's the College Baseball Experience. Yes, the College Baseball Tournament starts Friday, and Noah Beanick, The legend has you covered with the college baseball experience. Plus, hop in the college baseball bracket contest for a chance to win a $200 SGPN gift card. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/bracket. Plus, we're running a mega Memorial Day merch sale for the next couple days. 15% off everything in the merch store. Promo code SGPN May. Get a college experience t-shirt. Get a Pick Dundee t-shirt. All out there. Go check it out. And remember, as always, to let it ride. All right, we are back, and NC Nick is on the clock.
I still won't go to that game mentioned because I do have one ACC game which I have ranked higher. Again, we'll just go right down Colby's graphic right there. Miami at Louisville, I think is a fun matchup. It was a great game a year ago with Louisville winning 38-31. It was the game that clinched their berth in the ACC championship game. We've talked about, Miami, ad nauseum here with the hype they're getting. Who knows if that's just the annual Miami hype train out of control or if they're going to be much improved over last year. But both these teams have a shot at the ACC championship. Obviously, Louisville was there last year. So I think it's a fun matchup, especially because Louisville always recruits down in South Florida too.
Well, this is the Schnellenberger Bowl.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
a
He
lot of
coached at both.
connections.
I actually had this as the third ranked game out of the whole.
Same here.
I thought this game, thinking about this game, and first off, last year was hilarious because Louisville had the crowd. You remember that? That was the one
In Miami.
Yeah, in Miami they had the crowd, but this is going to be the game he loses. And me and Patty C were thinking about this here today. We were doing our projections for a 12-team playoff, and we're like, should we put Florida State? And I was like, I don't know. Miami's got all their roster's better than Florida State's this year, in my opinion. But then I'm like, I didn't think about this. Florida State doesn't go at Louisville this year, right? Miami does. They're going to lose this game. Jeff Brom is a way better coach than Mario Cristobal, right? We saw this when Brom was at Purdue. They beat Ohio State at Purdue. This is the type of game. Brom might, we'll see how he does in year two. It's a much harder schedule than year one. But I can tell you this: I feel pretty damn confident that Louisville's going to beat Miami here.
The one thing to consider: Miami does have a bye. Now Louisville's coming off a road trip at UVA.
This is going to be hostile. This is not.
That's
kind
of like a bye too, Patty.
Yeah, it's true. And look, let's be honest. Actually, Louisville has typically had a hard time with Virginia, but or at least a dogfight. Prior to that, though, Louisville has at Notre Dame and SMU, then a road trip to Virginia before. It's not like they'll be super well rested, whereas Miami comes off the bye.
How about this? Louisville's won 4 of the last 6 against the Canes. Canes lead the all-time series, but a lot of that goes back to the Schnellenberger era.
Big East days.
As Canes have a 7-game lead, but 4 of the last 6 by Louisville.
Yeah, I would say Louisville as a program is in a better place.
This is just the game he loses. Watch, Cristobal will beat like Florida State or beat
Virginia Tech or something.
Someone that you're not thinking, but this is the one. Like I almost want to guarantee this.
Yeah,
I feel like this is a guaranteed loss.
This got chippy, like you said. I think it was Petrino in his first stint there that kind of went down into Miami and started getting those players. And then I remember like Antrell Roll picking the ball off in the last play of the game and going into a huge fight. That was the game Devin Hester had a few kick returns for touchdowns.
This is one that I hope.
It's been nearly 20 years that these teams haven't really liked each other that much.
Well, this is one that I want the ACC to not get destroyed, and this is one that I hope when the ACC pulls through, with or without Clemson and Florida State, I want Miami Louisville to be
an annual game.
I feel like this could be a real rivalry.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
I like it. But Colby, I will say, I'm not sure about this is the guaranteed loss because the game before their bye was at Cal, and if you remember, we all said that was the loss.
No, but this is how they fuck up their whole season. They lose in Berkeley, they get the bye, they lose in Louisville, and those are 2 ACC losses, and they end up 8-4 again and or 7-5 or something. And
well, be careful about these 2 road trips because next up is Florida State at home. So I don't know. I think Miami probably gets one of the 2 road games, but they're Miami. They could definitely lose them both too.
Brom, a ranked team coming into Louisville, dude. Browns winning that fucking game.
Yeah, kind of reminds you of maybe the Notre Dame game. I think Louisville struggled in some games you didn't expect them to, but they got up to the big ones.
That's what I'm saying. The Shack is gonna be rocking.
Yeah,
other than the Florida State in the championship, I guess.
Yeah, it was
Brom has motivational skills. I would say he's able to get the team ready and peak at the right time. Which program is dirtier? I would say off the cuff Miami, but
That's a good question.
There's no such thing as dirty anymore.
Yeah,
that's true. But I mean, just in terms of similar.
Why do you think the SEC and Big Ten want to and USC and everybody want to break away?
Oh,
They want to break away because they realize everyone can do dirt now.
Dirt is legal.
They don't have a monopoly on dirt anymore.
And they can't have every Texas alum and Texas A&M alum in high power sentence SMU to a death penalty when they're doing the same fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
When they bought Eric Dickerson,
when Eric Dickerson's riding around in their fucking Cadillac. Yeah. Love that game. Love that game. Big 12 Colby, Big 12 Dundee. Not yet. I threw you for a curve here because let me tell you something. I do think I'm just gonna say, since we're fucking up college football left and right, we might as well go the way, go the distance and say, who cares about all these recent changes? Let's like, to me, if we're gonna fuck up college football and make it right, then there's like, okay, Iowa State's been playing like what, week 3 for like 1,000 years at the Iowa State Fair. I say fuck that and make that a rivalry game in the final. Since we're already fucking up history and Iowa plays USC and shit in a conference game.
Yeah.
End the season with Iowa State, right?
Yeah.
Put all these great rivalries back. Colorado, Nebraska to end the season.
If you're gonna break it, fix it the right way.
Yes, exactly. We're breaking it anyway.
Where are we going with this?
Yeah. Well, my point is Arkansas LSU used to be a great rivalry.
Gotcha.
They ended the season. Yeah, I remember Darren McFadden ruining LSU's chances, and I think this is an underrated rivalry. I know. Shout out to my guy Chase Sessoms, host of the Notorious OTB podcast, diehard Arkansas fan. They used to play this game in Little Rock too, every year to end the season. And his theory is that people were too drunk in Little Rock, so they moved this game.
Oh, so they went to Baton Rouge half the time. Okay, that
no,
fixes
Fayetteville.
What? They're not going to be drunk in Fayetteville?
No. Apparently, exactly. He said like. I'm being serious. Like in Little Rock, he said it's a much like grimier scene. So like they moved it. But I can tell you this: LSU's dominated it recently, but not really when you look at the scores. They won 34-31 last year, 13-10 the year before. Arkansas won in 21, 16-13. 2020 was 27-24. The last 4 games have all been 3-point games. Pulled pork Pittman against Brian Kelly and his family. I'm sorry. I'm going LSU at Arkansas. I think this game, the only thing that sucks though is that you should end the season with this. Arkansas only did
for a long time, right?
They did for a long time. Arkansas is the only Power 4 in the state of Arkansas. LSU is the only Power 4 in the state of Louisiana. They're border states.
Yeah.
They should play every year.
Well, now that Texas and Texas A&M are, but
yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
When Texas A&M
who do they have LSU ended the season with this year? Can you check?
That's a good question. Let me see.
LSU ends the season with Oklahoma.
Bullshit. That's bullshit.
Easy fix.
That is a bullshit.
Who does Arkansas end the season with?
Yeah,
Arkansas,
Missouri. They tried. That's one of those fake rivalries. Even though they're borders, they're trying to. They have like a 6-year history or something, like a 12-year history.
Yeah.
Like this should happen. This should be the game.
And then what would you do? Arkansas or Missouri,
Oklahoma, because they used to be in the same conference for 1,000 years.
They should just have Oklahoma State, but that's not going to happen anymore. Yeah. So yes, you're right. It should be A&M versus Texas, Arkansas versus LSU, and Missouri versus Oklahoma.
This isn't it should be Oklahoma State to end the season. Just put Missouri against Kansas. Hello. Yeah. I got all the answers.
We can
for
still
college
have
football. Call 1-800-PICK-DUNDEE.
Non-conference rivalry games. It's okay.
Yeah, well, half the SEC does it. Kentucky plays Louisville.
Yeah.
Florida State plays Florida.
Clemson plays
Georgia Georgia Tech. Clemson plays South Carolina.
Yeah.
Hey, SEC West or old
Take
SEC
notes.
West. Take fucking notes. Anyway, yeah. Nick, your thoughts on LSU Arkansas?
I agree. Fantastic game. Like you said, how close it's been the last 3 or 4 years. And also, I mean, Arkansas is at home and they're coming off a bye. The week before, LSU has a big matchup against Ole Miss. I think this is a prime spot for a Razorback upset to really potentially derail LSU season. I know it's still like mid-season and a lot can still happen, but it's a big game.
I love this game actually too, man.
The Golden Boot?
I like this game. Yeah, is this Battle of the Golden Boot? Is that what it is?
I think so. Yeah.
It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Patty C, you're on the clock.
Oh boy. Look, I'm gonna leave one for Nick. There is a Thursday nighter that is all over my radar, but I'm gonna not play it quite yet.
Thank you.
But I think it's a fun game. I mean, look, we'll get to it.
Decent Sunbelt matchup.
Yeah, right. I don't know. There's another Big 12 game that I like, but I'm gonna go with the first Big 12 game, and that is going to be TCU at Utah. No, I'm not.
No, I love that game. That's an old Mountain West
Well,
game.
Patty
that is
C,
coming
you
back.
already played the first Big 12 game, which was Oklahoma State BYU.
Yeah, so maybe I'm Big 12 Patty now.
Looks like it.
Yeah, screw it. Let's do it. Let's
Dude,
go.
this game is great. I don't know if you guys remember that stretch where, what was it, Versus Network that had the deal with the Mountain West. They used to play these on Thursday nights, and this was a very chippy rivalry, and both teams were very good.
I don't know
at that time in the mid 2000s.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking at it. Yeah, 2005 TCU wins 23-20. Kyle Whittingham against Gary Patterson. The next year Utah beats them. This was a very good rivalry back and forth.
There was a stretch where they played 6 years in a row. To call it a rivalry when they've only played 8 times
fair.
total.
Not a rivalry, but my point is that to me, like, you want to talk about emergence in the group of 5. Everyone thinks like UCF or Cincinnati. These were the originals to me of like, I remember in the 2000s, this was a nationally televised game, and there was a good chance that the winner was going to go undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, didn't both of these teams regularly play in the Fiesta Bowl?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this was. It almost makes me wish that we would have figured the playoff out back then, and the Mountain West would have stayed intact. Because when you think about BYU, TCU, Utah, and then you add Boise, it's like, that's awesome. It's just fucking awesome. But TCU at Utah, I think, is a very cool game. Back
The
on
fact
the
that it's in Utah makes it a little less compelling. I mean,
they're gonna fuck them up.
TCU 5-7, Utah 10-3.
If you have an average team going to Utah, that doesn't usually end well for the average team.
True.
That's why personally I had a couple other Big 12 games above this one.
Well, I did too, but I still think I did. My eyes did light up when I saw this game on the schedule because it just brings back flashbacks to me of when both teams were top 10 going at it on like a Thursday or a Friday night.
The Mountain West was fun when they were both in it for sure.
I'm just saying, we have a team that is a playoff favorite and a team that was in the national championship 2 years ago going at it. That could have some fireworks if TCU is any better. It could be a really good game. Who knows? Maybe year 2, maybe Sonny Dykes
year
has
3.
to.
You mean year 3?
Yeah, year 3. Sonny Dykes has to build like his own system. Maybe he was fortunate to inherit a good thing, but still, once that was gone, you can't expect him to just maintain that before he's had to fully install his stuff. And usually it takes a few years to do that.
Yeah, fair. Shout out to Jeff Sharp in the chat, longtime listener. He goes, I just don't like when the Iowa State game is played. Should be the finale of the season. I agree, and I actually have a map. I should do it. I'm going to do a podcast at some point this offseason of I have everything aligned. If you're going to fuck up college football, which they've already clearly done, then at least you can end it with just the greatest. I think they should do the final week of the season. You do your hardcore rivals. Iowa State.
Yeah.
Colorado,
Would you
Nebraska.
say those
Utah,
are
BYU.
each other's primary rivals? Because we have like Ohio State, Michigan, when right there you have Michigan State,
But
in-state.
but this is my angle here. Yeah. You do 3 rivalry weeks. You do one at the end of September, the final week, and that is more so for the mid-major or maybe your third tier rival. You do Halloween weekend. So like Michigan State should play every Halloween. Yeah. You know what I mean? I said Missouri, Kansas should end the season like they did forever. They should end the season, but you get Kansas State for Halloween weekend. You know what I mean?
What's the difference there?
Dundee for commissioner.
That's what I'm saying. You get Iowa State, Kansas State, Farmageddon every Halloween.
Well, I guess my question is, what's the difference there? If you're having a border battle for one of the early season or your end of season rivalry when there is an in-state rivalry that exists that you're putting mid-season, which is the case if you're putting
just because it's in-state doesn't mean it's a better rivalry than the border battle.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I guess what you're saying,
you have to value what you think is the best
Iowa
one.
State is clearly better than I
That's
guess
the best
Iowa,
rivalry Iowa plays.
and it's the best rivalry.
Tennessee
Iowa State
Oklahoma isn't an in-state rivalry, but it's one of the best in all of college football.
Yeah.
You say Tennessee Oklahoma?
Texas Oklahoma.
Oh,
Yeah, Texas, Oklahoma. That's the one. It's like you're doing that because of Texas State
that one
Fair.
makes
You're not
sense.
moving. No. But I say you put that one
At the end of the season.
No, you put that one on Halloween, right? Because you still want to honor it being in Oklahoma, but you have Texas A&M to end the season.
I agree with you that it would be cool to have scheduled rivalry weeks, but I think there's also something cool about each week having a featured rival.
I don't.
Okay. Well,
because that's how you end up with shitty games at the end of the season.
Well, at the end of the season should
you get
be
the Cincinnati taking on like fucking Oklahoma State in like week 13. You're like that's horrible.
The real rivalry week should obviously have your best rival in it if you can make that happen.
No, but I think there's certain about Halloween too. Halloween
that's a good weekend.
Is like
it should be more important than it is. I agree with you on that.
What the fuck are we talking about? College football. Yes, let's go. NC Nick, you're on the clock. Where are you going?
All right, so this is the third round, so I think now I can take a homer play, especially because it's my team and it's a weekday. I will take to Florida State Duke Friday night. Don't mention the all-time series.
The only thing that's saving you, the only thing that you're
it's 22-0 in Florida State's favor.
Only thing that's saving you is it's your team. All right, that's the only thing saving you. 20-0, right? 22-0 or 20-0.
Well, I think Florida State might have vacated, but it's really 22-0. If you count those vacated wins, but Manny Diaz, new coach at Duke, is 2-1. He was 2-1 against Florida State while at Miami.
If they had a healthy Riley Leonard, they would have beat Florida State last year
for sure. So this year we get it done.
But what's up with this playing back-to-back years? No, this is in Durham, right? This is in Durham.
It is. I should go to this game. I think I'll be there. I'll say it right now. I
should go to this game. God.
Hey, let me remind you that they're still not going to have a healthy Riley Leonard because they're not going to have Riley Leonard at all.
No, but they got Malik Murphy.
True.
Might be better than Riley Leonard.
Might be.
Yeah.
Hasn't shown it.
Yeah, we'll see. That's a big statement. I mean, does he have much more talent, a higher ceiling? Yes, but slow your roll a little bit there, Cole.
I'm just saying he was further in the depth chart than Arch Manning.
Higher on the depth chart?
Higher. I'm sorry. Yeah.
True.
Right?
True. You
don't beat out a Manning unless you can sling it, right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's true. Oh, he's physically he looks the part. There's no doubt about it. He can play, so did Joe Milton, but it doesn't mean you can't play if you're just built like a freaking Greek god, which he is. He could be really great if he lives up to his.
How the hell they never beaten Florida State? You fucking bums. Most of these games are ridiculous.
Well, let me tell you, for the longest time, Florida State was at the very top of college football, and Duke was at the very bottom. That's how it happens.
How did you guys only catch them once in that shitty era, and you only lost by 7?
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Like you
missed, close.
They sucked for like 6 years. And you guys only got them once. That's a conspiracy. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a weekday game. I can't wait to watch it. I will say this: I know Duke is focused more on throwing more money into football, and which has me excited. You saw them on Labor Day last year. I thought Pack the House and College Game Day was there, and they look great. I think they did. They have a classic stadium. They have one of the more underrated stadiums, I think.
Yeah, Duke was very close last year to beating Clemson, Notre Dame, and Florida State.
Yeah, they should have beaten. For sure, Clemson.
I don't know if people realize.
Or they beat Clemson, but yeah.
I don't know if people realize how far Duke has come from when they were going winless. To even say those 3 teams that Duke almost beat and they beat one of them, Clemson, Notre Dame, Florida State, that shows you how far Duke has come. Now, there's a new coach in town. We'll see how that goes. But I don't know. I'm excited for the season. I'm excited for the future.
Me too. I think. I mean, look, I have a couple games higher than this, but I will say it's your team. You got to play it. Patty C, your thoughts?
How long was Elko there? Like 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Was he able to? Do you think put the program legitimately on solid footing?
I think David Cutcliffe did, and then I think Elko carried that, picked it up some because down the stretch, down this final years, it fell off for Cutcliffe. But he was the one that originally put it on the map to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, he definitely built it way up from where it was, but like you said, they had just fallen off a little bit instantly.
But it wasn't that far removed, right, from the success. Right?
Yeah,
It's
his
like-
last 2.5 years were pretty bad, but Cutcliffe deserves respect for bringing Duke up from the very bottom.
Yeah, I still think the talent level of the program and the culture of the program was a night and day compared to when he got there to when he left. But Elko instantly jumped it up. What I'm saying is, did Elko permanently or for the next few years jump it up? Did he build something, or was he just able to coach his ass into some great wins and a great?
I think probably the latter. If Manny Diaz doesn't work, I think Duke will take a big hit. Now, but to Colby's point though, Duke does realize the importance of having a decent football team, and they are pumping resources into the program. So
that is the
should
most
help.
Important. Wake Forest, Syracuse, Boston College, take notes. Because I think it's important to do that right now, because if not, you're going to end up in the Patriot League. Yeah. Okay. Correctly played. For you. I had it further down. Because I'm taking you to Tucson. All right. Where the Buffs are taking on the Arizona Wildcats. Look, Arizona, I'm not sure that they can exactly grab 10 or 11 wins. What did they get? 10 wins last year or 11? I can't remember.
I think it was 10.
But I can tell you this. I kind of think they caught lightning in a bottle last year, right? I think Brent Brennan's a better head coach than Jed Fish. I know it's a bold take, but I think they got very lucky with Jaden DeLora getting injured and Noah Fafita coming in and balling. I think Brent Brennan did an unbelievably good job with San Jose State, and the record doesn't dictate how well he did a great job. I think Brent Brennan's going to be a great coach at Arizona. I think the fact he was able to retain T-Mac at wide out and a lot of that roster, Noah Fafita. I think that there's reason to believe that Arizona could be a playoff team. Now, they still took some hits in the portal. Some of those guys went to Washington, a couple went to Texas, and I do think the Big 12 schedule is challenging. On the other side of this, you got the Colorado team, which is, talk about variance. I listen to certain podcasts that say they think they're like a 3-9 team. I listen to some that say they, I think it was Bruce Feldman says he thinks it's going to be one of the more underrated teams of this year, right? Either way, I think it's compelling. You got, like it was like we said last year, Coach Prime, to me, every game is kind of must watch because you want to see what's going to happen, But Colorado, Arizona, Colorado leads the all-time series by 6 games. They should have. They've only played 26 times. They should have been. They should have played more, in my opinion. But anyway, Nick, your thoughts?
Coach Prime was definitely must watch last year. Completely agree. Depending on how this season starts, that might start to fade a little bit. What if Colorado is 3-3 entering this game?
Must watch.
Then I think you argue that okay, Colorado's decent, but they're not really gonna. And will people start getting tired of Coach Prime?
Well, I think they already are, but I mean,
America's racist as shit, and Coach Prime, let's face it, is a loudmouth, and so when you get that combination, you get Angel Reese, for instance, in college basketball. I've never really talked about. I don't give a fuck about women's college hoops or women's hoops in general, but that did generate a shit ton of
clickbait and shit. Yeah.
And primetime is always going to do that, win, lose, or draw.
But it is hilarious to see how many people from me as a Colorado fan, it's hilarious how many people think last year was a failure for Deion. I look at it as a great success. You won 4 times the amount of games from the year before, right?
You were pretty close against a lot of really good teams.
Yes.
Cash the over.
Cash the over. I thought it was a great success. I thought the fact that everyone was so excited, I just took a flight to DC the other day, and I had a layover in Denver, and someone got on the flight from Denver to DC, and he was telling me that how serious the Colorado alums are now about football, and DC and Deion's ignited that. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
for
I think the
haters,
the haters might not realize what Deion took over.
Yeah. And
how bad Colorado had sunk to.
Yeah.
So
and how many of their best players transferred out the previous couple of years?
yeah, that's what's the funny. That's the best narrative. Is like, oh, the team that took all the transfers, they don't remember that
Right.
30 fucking transfers left the year prior.
Yeah.
And you know I saw this. They were
Deion
laughing.
just improved their situation, and all of a sudden he's the bad guy.
And then
for
they
it.
bring up the point. They're like, last year Deion had no players drafted. Well, no shit. They might have the top 2 players taken next year, but Colorado had a bunch of players drafted. But this is a new thing that's stupid. Is like if you play like Christian Gonzalez, the corner that was in the first round for the Pats, I think drafted him. He played majority of his college career at Colorado. He transfers to Oregon. That was one of the guys.
Yeah.
With Carl Durrell on
Brandon
that team.
Rice.
A bunch of them.
Yeah.
Makai Blackman. You go 1-1. Like the year before Deion, 30 players left.
Yeah.
And Mark Perry, starting safety at TCU in the national championship, Colorado transfer. So they learned that they had to use the portal because their whole fucking team left. To me, it was like this is a no-brainer. So I think a lot of people do forget that.
And to bring it back to this game here, Arizona was a fantastic game last year. Arizona won, with the field goal in the I think as time expired. So it's a good game. I still had one more Big 12 game higher, but it's a solid game. I think at this point in the week we've fallen off where you can choose whatever you want.
Yeah. Jeff Sharp saying Deion will be gone in 3 years max. Well, even if so, I'm happy with that. To me, like to bring back the program and get people excited and remind people that.
Yeah, well, gone in what way? Like to a better gig, meaning that he's elevated the program, or things like go bad. I guess the question is, how will he be gone? In what manner?
Well, my thing as a Colorado fan is they were horrible before. It's like I can tell you this: they're certainly more talented now.
Well, I'm not mad about Mike Elko leaving Duke. Would I've liked him to stay there forever? Obviously, but you know, as a Duke fan, I can't blame him for taking the Texas A&M job.
Yeah. Like I said, to me, just getting everyone ignited is the battle, and I think seeing the impact. I think Colorado had forgotten how much football can matter to your university. We're seeing it, whether it's enrollment. Yeah. Whether you're seeing, and this is to me
excitement around campus.
Yes, exactly. Around the whole fucking state. So let's go.
Well, certainly if Colorado's winning a lot, this game is must watch TV.
I still think Colorado's going to be a bowl team this year. So like in general, it's a good football game. Arizona will be a bowl team. Colorado will be a bowl team. I'm fairly certain with that statement. So anyway, Patty C, you're on the clock.
All right, go ahead and rain down the laughter. But look, here comes a fucking pick that I think, especially given where I think both of these teams will be at this point in the season, which is a lot better than they were last season, is going to be compelling. Not to mention you have the Thursday night, weeknight slate, and it is a traditional Thursday night matchup. Look, and there have been some crazy fireworks in this game on Thursday night, namely Boston College potentially knocking Virginia Tech out of the national championship. What was that, back in like 2007?
Steve Logan and Matt
Ryan. Yeah. One of the most incredible finishes to a game you've ever seen. Look, Virginia Tech, I anticipate to be pretty darn good at this point in the season. What do they start with? Vandy, Marshall, ODU, Rutgers at home. And then Miami and Stanford on the road. It's conceivable that they're 6-0. It's possible they're 4-2.
Diego pissing Pavia is going to shut them in week 1.
No, he will not.
Yeah, he will. We're going to wager on that.
Yeah, let's wager everything right now. Okay. Let's wager our life savings straight up. The Virginia Tech.
Okay.
How
did Auburn work out when they took on Jerry Kill and Diego pissing Pavia?
So what do we got? True. A couple $100 on the game?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. My whole life savings. What do you got? $327 on that.
But Boston, both coming off a bye, so both are. I mean
what do we expect from
game.
Boston College, though, man?
Boston College goes at Florida State. It's probably a loss. Hosting Duquesne.
No, I'm saying in general. Like I think they're looking at like a 3 or 4 win team.
Well,
right?
Here's where let's take a look at Bill O'Brien's history, but I want to say that Bill O'Brien, not the only reason I liked him for the Boston College job was because he is an Irishman with an Irish last name. I also liked him because I feel like he is exactly what Boston College needs, because Boston College will never have a high championship ceiling, and that is his fault as a coach, is that he can't take a team.
Go back to the
over
early
the top.
80s. They were certainly top 10, buddy.
They weren't a championship program ever.
It took Flutie, one of the more magical quarterbacks in football
Matt Ryan
history.
that one year with Jeff Jagosinski before he interviewed with the Bucks.
I mean, they ended up with like 3 or 4 losses that year. I feel I could be wrong on that. I got to look at the list of Boston College.
Well, no, look, these two teams played in 2 straight ACC championship games in 07 and 08.
One of those
seems like a long time ago.
The year Matt Bryan beat them in that crazy game you were alluding to, they were a 10-win team, an 11-win team. So
11-2 that one year.
Yeah.
Where'd they go?
Oh, but you know who the OC was. I mentioned him earlier.
I was. You don't go to East Carolina with a weak heart.
Write it.
Yes.
They were good. They were pretty
Steve Logan.
good.
Yep.
Who was it? O'Brien?
Let me tell you something right now. I'm looking at this. In 84, not only did they in 83 and 84 did they sweep Alabama, they went 10-2 in 84, right? They went 9-3 in 93. Remember Notre Dame got a little.
Well, that's what they do. That's what I feel like Bill O'Brien can return.
So hang on, 9-3 in 2005, right? Tom O'Brien, then 10-3, then 11-3, including a top number 2 in the nation. And then 9-5, and they fired Jeff Jagosinski because he interviewed with the Buccaneers. They deserve all of that. You fucking losers.
Sounds like Colby's trying to sell this game. I like it.
Well, I'm trying to sell it, but I'll be honest. I unlike Patty C, think Bill O'Brien's a horrible hire for Boston College.
Look, he took a bad Houston team, or what has traditionally been a bad Houston team. I don't really recall what they were prior to 2014 when he was hired, but
are we talking
in
NFL?
the NFL, which is a different game, sure. But 9-7, 9-7.
How did Herm Edwards do with Arizona State, or
4-12.
Lovie Smith with Illinois?
It's true, but I guess Herm Edwards did have a career. What I'm saying is this: I believe, all the things considered, that Bill O'Brien will make a fine coach for Boston College, and I think
what is a fine coach for Boston College? 6-6,
a guy who goes 7-6 or 8-5 every year.
That's not a fine coach.
That's a typical Boston College coach.
Fine coach would be the ones I alluded to.
Sure.
And they fired for taking the interview.
Fair coach at Boston College. But what I do think is that Virginia Tech is the type of team that finds way to lose these games, often against teams that are pro style, that are just too smart for their little gimmick defense that they run sometimes. And I think that they're going to be in a position to have a pretty good year, and Boston College could catch them on a Thursday night.
Let me help you,
makes
Patty
this
C.
compelling.
Let me help you. I don't know if they're going to catch him, but Lane Stadium, prime time at night on a weekday, that's fun to watch.
Yeah, you don't need to say much more than that.
Let me tell you, Boston College, to me, if you had to list the most boring program in the country,
they're right up there.
I'm just curious where you would go, Nick. Would you say Nick, Big 12 hater? He'd probably say like Iowa State or something.
Oh, they're probably up there too. But no,
Northwestern.
Boston College, I will not argue that. First off, I'm not a fan of Northeast football at the FBS level, at least. We clarified that a couple weeks ago. No, Boston College, it is right up there as one of the most boring programs. It's got to be top 5.
That's
probably.
their own fault. You can make it exciting when you don't hire Bill O'Brien.
Well, we need
It's all about coaching hires.
We need a nickname for them. Purdue is spoiler makers, right? Boston College does the same thing, but they just don't have some, flashy nickname to go along with that. So.
My thing is like when Purdue hired Joe Tiller, like it was exciting, right? When they hired Jeff Brom, it was exciting. Boston College hasn't done this in like 30 fucking years. Just do an exciting fucking hire.
Yeah, that's true.
They like this just when this happened, I know you called it, so I laughed at it and I thought it was great for the brand. All right, because we called this 10 years ago. When I say we, but is it boring as fuck to me? It is.
Well, Bob Chesney, I think enough people, even though he was at the FCS level, still would have constituted a kind of exciting hire for them, and they didn't get it done. Of course, the Dukes of JMU did. But they're stuck with a little bit of a boring hire, I admit. So it is Boston College. That is what they do.
Damani agrees with me. Diego pissing Pavi and the Doors are going to beat Virginia Tech week 1. I'm telling you, this Virginia Tech team is getting way too much hype for a team that wasn't that good last year.
Virginia Tech wins this game by 3 touchdowns.
Oh, I can't wait. We're betting on this fucking thing. We are betting on this one. Herm Edwards not knowing the Sun Devil in his press conference. No, Sunday. No. I'm Catholic.
Catholic.
Yeah.
Where you
all
from?
right.
Right here
Yeah.
in Tempe.
Yeah, Devil Digest. But look, folks, I'm going to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting for you. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports play, and their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and much more. You can make all entries of NBA basketball players, or you can mix and match across your favorite sports, which is one of the coolest things I think they offer. If you want to load up on some MLB, some NHL, UFL football, you can do all of that and much more. So check it out. You can win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter, and it's a ton of fun. Underdog's available in 30 different states, including California and Texas, and even the great country of Canada. So what are you doing, folks? Hop on over there. By the way, also, if you're in the state of Florida, they just launched their champions, their player versus player format in Florida. Nice way to get around things. All right. So hop on over there, sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code TCE SGPN. All right, we are back on the college football experience, and NC Nick, you are back on the clock.
And let's go back to the SEC. Auburn at Missouri. I think this is a good game here. We haven't seen it that very often. Auburn is 3-0 versus Missouri since Missouri joined the Big 12, including that 2013 SEC championship game. But if you pay attention to Twitter or X, I'm kind of high on Mizzou. But Auburn, year 2, they might be better than expected. This could be a ball game. It's kind of a unique matchup just because we haven't seen him play that much in the SEC. So yeah, sign me up.
This is sneaky because there's two ways. I was thinking about your video. Follow NC Nick on Twitter at NC__NICK. What do you really think of Missouri? I know Nick, you're high on them, but Patty C. This is a team last year. They got the win against Ohio State in the bowl game. I know Ohio State didn't have half their roster. There's two ways you can take this. You can take this as in how lucky were they? You look back, they had a 4-point win against Middle Tennessee. They had a 64-yard field goal win against Kansas State in a game they were losing a lot of. They had a 7-point win against Memphis. They had a 2-point win against a bad Florida team. And they caught Ohio State with they beat Ohio State, yes, but they definitely caught Ohio State kind of their B-list team.
Absolutely.
So in a way, I can spin it as Missouri. I think could be a really good team. We do like their schedule this year, but I also think damn, they played a lot of shitty teams kind of close, So it's
true. But on the other hand, they were within a field goal of Georgia in the fourth quarter. I think they beat Tennessee by 29. Won at Arkansas by 34. They beat Kentucky at Kentucky by 17. I agree that, usually you want to see better efforts or more consistent effort regardless of the opponent. So that's something that Drinkwitz is going to have to fix for sure. But they have the talent.
They do certainly have the talent. And let's not forget, this is a week after they lose in the McGurk against UMass. All right. So no, but their schedule's so fucking great. They have the best schedule in the SEC.
How has Missouri typically done at home? And do we have any knowledge of Auburn's history going into Missouri?
I believe Auburn's success in Missouri has been very minimal.
They haven't played that much. I mean, yeah. I think they beat them once in Missouri. I said Auburn has 3-0 since the SEC. I think one of them was at Missouri.
Yeah.
I can double check here quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, the team's only played 4 times once, and so Auburn's won once in Missouri. They're 1-0 in Missouri.
That's like they weren't even in the same conference for a decade. Rob Donaldson saying Luther Burden's about to ball out. He is a stud. I think
you have a good game here. I
do too, but I actually think Missouri, even though I talk shit about them or posing the question about how good they are, I don't think Auburn's very good.
What do you think Hugh Freeze is going to improve in year 2? Because he had Liberty rolling pretty well, and he had what was it? Ole Miss prior to that, rolling pretty darn strong. He's known to build a pretty strong program. This is year 2. Maybe there's a jump forward.
He did jump forward from 8 wins to 10 at Liberty. I thought they would have done more in the portal, and that has me very weary of Auburn this year.
A 2-game jump for Auburn would be an 8-4 team, correct?
But I just don't think. I think the SEC is a lot harder. I don't know. I'm a skeptic on Auburn this year. I want to believe that that they'll be better just because it's year 2. I don't see it when I look at the roster.
I don't see it when I look at the roster either, but they are still a pretty high level recruiting team. I'm not sure how they've done in the transfer portal.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't think they've done amazing in the portal.
I would think Missouri's was a bit of an anomaly, but wait, did LSU get them at home or did they get LSU? What happened?
Auburn? Are we talking?
No, Missouri.
LSU
won by
won
10.
at Mizzou. That was a crazy game.
No, this was a horrible game because I had Mizzou. Do you remember that? This was one of the worst beats. Actually,
I
I'm
think
gonna
Missouri might be even better than their record.
This was the worst beat of the whole season, maybe, because Missouri should have won the game. LSU steals it, and then Missouri on the final play of the game throws a pick 6.
Yeah.
So if you had Missouri, you're just like, oh my god, because they were dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I bet, if I could answer our resident App State fan Blanton Stamey in the house, who mentions Missouri could go 5-7 or 10-2. Obviously, I think closer to 10-2, but he's our App State guy. I'm definitely going to App State at Coastal. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to Boone yet this year, but I tried to once a year, so we'll see.
Beautiful.
there we go.
I'm going to say this. This kind of represents probably a turning of the tide in most people's heads as to the 5-year, 10-year pecking order of the SEC, at least between these two teams. I think most people would still consider Auburn
I think
a better
tide
program.
turning. As I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of turn. It's easy to see a tide turn.
It is easy to see a tide turn. Would you consider Missouri a better program or the program in a better place if they get this win this year?
Oh, I certainly do right now with their state laws.
That's true. They can pay their high school players.
Yeah, there's a reason why Luther Burden's not at Alabama. All right,
That's genius.
Yeah, it really is.
They pay their high school players if they come in state, if they commit to an in-state school.
Yep.
Fucking genius.
All right. I like that play, and I think it's weary. It's worth not weary. Worth a spot right around there. But big old NC Nick. he just never plays Big 12 games, and he's a hater, and that's really what it comes down to. He is a true hater on Big 12 games.
Pick your game. Quit talking shit about me.
I'm looking for the goddamn soundtrack. We're going to Morgantown.
This is the one I had higher than those last 2 Big 12 games you guys played.
Dude, but this is that's I don't. You can argue. Wait, you had it higher than Oklahoma State, BYU?
No, I had it higher than TCU,
Okay.
Utah, and Colorado, Arizona.
To me, like Colorado, Arizona, and then UCF, Iowa State, which is still out there, and TCU, Utah, all have implications. But I think we can sit there and argue all day about which ones. To me, what ones? That's what I mean. It's the problem with the Big 12 is you don't have like that number 1 game.
Yeah.
But damn, do you have heat this week, man?
They're all
Yeah.
pretty good games. There's
That's what I'm
no
saying.
great games. There's no shit games.
Kansas State going to Morgantown. To me, I trust Kansas State will be in the mix. I'm making the assumption that West Virginia might be. I was actually thinking about this because I was asked. I was doing a radio spot, and they're like, "Who's going to be in the Big 12 championship?" And I tried to forecast this. The guy had let me know ahead of time. I think that's the hardest exercise you can do. I feel way more confident saying the Sun Belt Championship, way more confident saying every other championship than I do the Big 12. And I think Kansas State will be in that mix. But West Virginia, I have no fucking idea. I kind of think there'll be a bowl team. Will this have implications on the championship game? maybe not. You know what I mean? Like as far as like West Virginia or both teams be in the mix, I think so because both will be bowling. I think Kansas State's a legit contender. West Virginia, I'm not sure where I put West Virginia. You know what I mean?
They both 9-4 last year.
Yeah, Kansas State leads the all-time series by 1. They've been playing since 1948 or whatever. 1930 actually the first time they played. 1930. But yeah, Nick, your thoughts?
Everything I said about the games at BYU also applies to at Morgantown and at West Virginia. So whenever you see a team towards the top of the league play at West Virginia, you take a look. You want to watch because the home dog is always live. And I think West Virginia is better than BYU, so they might be even more dangerous to win this.
I think you're right. I think we might have slept on this game a little bit. I think my data collection was a little off here. But look, yeah, both of these, and we talked about.
I hear there's rumors on the internets.
I think
Patty C, data collector.
I'm just using. Look, I'm really into artificial intelligence, but it fucks up. It fucks up. So I'm having to adjust on the fly here. My list, my data is a little wrong. But look, Kansas State, we said, is on a very short list. I would say even shorter list than West Virginia, even though West Virginia was a 9-1
No,
team.
Kansas State's like a for sure playoff contender coming into the
Utah,
your cop out for
Oklahoma
the
State.
your cop out for the Big 12 championship is Utah, Kansas State, the two favorites.
Yeah, but
I think Oklahoma State's right there with both.
I think all of them are right there, dude. Arizona comes in after a really hot season. They bring back their star quarterback and star wideout. I tend to think it won't be Arizona just because they won a lot of close games a year ago. But at the same time, like Iowa State looked amazing when they had 30 players suspended. UCF, I think that it's the most compelling conference in college football because
I think we talk about
idea.
this pretty much every week that you could argue there's up to maybe 10 teams that could potentially make the championship for sure.
Yeah, but I can tell you this: I do believe K-State is a top 4 team in that conference.
Will Howard leaving.
But they kind of pushed him out the door because Avery Johnson. What you got to do is you got to make shots. All right, Avery Johnson. They pushed him out the door. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I think this is a fantastic game, and the fact that 7-6 all time, tells me some good balance here, Patty C.
Let's go.
All right, you're on the clock. Where the hell are you going?
Nice beaver.
Sorry.
Look, I am taking us to the group of 5 ranks here for a really nice in-state game, MAC game between Ohio and Miami of Ohio. 10 wins for Ohio last year, 11 wins for Miami of Ohio. I mean, we're talking about a game, right?
Data collector.
Let's talk about this though. I mean,
is this the battle of the bricks?
I'm not sure. Potentially, I have to look at the old rivalry list here. But look, these are 2 evenly matched teams. They finished number 1 and 2 in the East of the MAC last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think did Miami, Ohio?
This is the battle of the bricks.
Nice. I mean, that's a great rivalry.
Playing this for 115 years.
I like that.
I think both of these teams still have an excellent chance. I mean, especially if Miami, Ohio is able to get Cincinnati again, which seems like a possibility, then they, after an 11-3 season, I mean, it won't take long for them to be ranked after finishing with 11 wins last year. If they get out to a really hot start this year.
My only look, I love it, rivalry game, but my only knock is I think Ohio might be fucking trash because we talked about this last week, how their whole team transferred. There's a decent shot that Ohio is like a 3 or 4 win team.
Well, no. So here's a problem with the play is that Maction Tuesday night, Wednesday night hasn't started yet. This game gets completely lost on a Saturday.
They're so stupid. Put this on a Thursday,
when
Friday,
Patty
something.
C tells me he's going G5 in state, I'm thinking Tuesday night we got Troy, South Alabama. And then he throws me throws a curveball here and takes me to Saturday, Ohio, Miami, Ohio.
At least it is like a historic rivalry.
I
Battle
like
of the
it.
Bricks
Yeah,
is
just,
a historic rivalry.
Come on, man.
two really good teams.
Look,
I mean,
Ohio's my MAC squad, but on a Saturday,
maybe you need to watch a little more MAC football.
And Ohio's won 7 of the last 10.
Hey, and listen, like we were saying, now that the MAC finally has kind of a seat at the table, or the group of 5 certainly does in the playoff table,
It becomes a lot more interesting.
it does.
That is true. All these games become a lot more interesting. And imagine what you do if you did auto bids. Then this would be like must watch.
Yeah,
this would be must watch if you gave the MAC an auto bid. Nick, your thoughts?
I think I expressed it. I like the game. It's just I think it's played way too early on. With it being on Saturday.
He's talking shit to you, buddy.
This is probably Patty C probably just played the highest MAC game ever. We've been doing this for what, 3 years? I think Patty C just played the highest MAC game ever.
Well, I don't think it's a fantastic week. I mean, like we talked about, there's not a ton of depth. So why not play a game that has all of the elements, rivalry, in-state, 2 winning teams, implications? You know,
Hey.
I'm sorry that the MAC isn't.
Right,
sexy
you already made your case. Whose pick is it?
It's yours, buddy. I played
All
your
right.
music, so go.
Thank you. Back to the SEC. I like this game because it used to be completely one-sided, and now Kentucky lost 31 in a row to Florida. You're talking, stretches over 3 different decades of them losing every year to Florida, and now they've won 3 in a row, 4 out of 5. If you're a Florida fan, you know they despise losing to the basketball school in the Bluegrass State. So I think Kentucky-Florida is always a fun matchup, and I'd love to see Kentucky get W's against the Gators.
I do too. And this is one I was talking to. If you check out the Stadium Heads podcast I did with Michael Barker, he was talking about he went to, and this was, I think, the game in 2019. Florida ends up coming back and winning. They were down, I think, 31 to 13 or 31 to 10 or something. I'm sorry, 21 to 10. I think going like 10-minute mark in the 4th. They knock out Felipe Franks. Kyle Trask comes in. Florida storms back and wins. But he told me, he was like, the amount of hatred in that crowd towards Florida, he says, I'll put that toe to toe with almost anything I've been to in college football. So that is really what builds a good rivalry, is hatred for the other fans. And I like it. You also got the basketball element to this. You know what I mean? Like,
who's won a championship more recently? I guess Kentucky got it in like 2012, but Florida got 2 in the mid 2000s. So I mean, you can't even say Kentucky's the much more dominant basketball program.
Hey, ever since Stoops has come along, though, this rivalry, I want to say even Florida's wins, like I said, 29-21 was kind of a crazy win for them. I felt like Kentucky outplayed them. They just gave them the game. 2017, Florida wins by 1. You know what I mean? Like, but Kentucky's won 3 straight. Can you imagine? They circle this game in Lexington. They circle this one. This and the Governor's Cup, they circle.
Oh yeah.
So I do think this is played correctly.
No, is it just because Florida had been the dominant team in the SEC East for as long as they were?
I think there's a little basketball element too, and they won some natties and bad. I think they just hate Florida, and I like it.
I like that too.
I like it.
It's easy to hate Florida, right?
Yeah, it's true, especially since they took cops off the air.
I mean, given Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer, I feel like 90% of Cops is filmed.
That's what I'm saying. When they took it off the air,
no, it's filmed in Georgia. I feel like Fulton County.
No, Florida. Florida gets a ton.
No,
Florida gets a ton.
90% of it is Florida.
I
Daytona
agree with
Beach.
both.
Maybe I'm thinking.
Their headquarters are Daytona Beach.
90s Cops. Maybe since 2000.
No, I'm talking
Always
90s Cops. I'm
Florida.
talking 2020
I
Cops.
fucking swear it was always in Fulton or Cobb County.
I don't even have Fulton as like my top 3. I got the state of Florida. The second, it's underrated, is fucking Arizona
or
Vegas.
Vegas always too. Vegas and Arizona.
You guys
the
are
desert.
thinking of what's
Desert Cops
what's that
episode.
stupid ass show.
What a dumb thing.
Reno 911.
No, what a dumb. That's Reno. That's not.
What's
desert.
better,
Yeah.
desert football or desert cops?
Desert Cops.
What a stupid thing, though. Like we all know the George Floyd thing was horrible, but then it's to pull cops off the air because of that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Pretty dumb.
All right, I want to watch.
Or live PD, because I started watching live PD. That was kind of fire too.
So I'm saying I like watching drunken idiots in Daytona Beach with 3 teeth. Yeah, no, not even getting tasered. Just I like their explanation of like when they hop in the car. Say, well, what are you doing? You yelling at your girlfriend? Hey, well, you know, it's just it's entertainment. What the fuck are we doing here?
I swear I didn't know those drugs were there.
Yeah. So you don't have any drugs in your pocket? No. And they just pull out like a gigantic meth piece. It's recently been hit. No, I didn't know that was there. These are my cousin's shorts. It's just great. Anyway, I do like that game. I mean, you guys you realize you make me do this, right? You guys make me do this.
What do you got?
I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything, but I think you guys make me fucking do this. Back to the Big 12. UCF at Iowa State, I think, has implications on the championship game. And Ames is a very hard place to win, especially for UCF, who I don't think's ever played in Ames.
These teams have never played each other, period.
Yeah. So history, I guess, not a great history play, but as far as Big 12 championship, I would not be shocked.
I'd be shocked.
I would be
really
shocked.
Maybe one of them sneaks in or gets close to sneaking in, but probably not both.
Dude, I think Malzahn is building it in UCF. In Iowa State, I actually think they return the most production of anyone in the nation. And the fact that they had 30 guys out and they were as good as they were, I think Iowa State is a legit contender. UCF may be the further stretch, but I think they're building it correctly. I would not be shocked at all, especially in this day and age when you have Big 12 is now 16 teams where the schedule matters. I don't think you're going to get the best 2 teams ever in these conference championships. I think you're going to get one of the best teams and then the best schedule. So
especially when teams aren't like head and shoulders above other teams. I agree.
Yeah.
Then schedule matters that much more.
So UCF Iowa State, I think, is a game that catches my eye.
When you're talking about schedule, Iowa State was 6-3 in conference. I mean, despite only finishing 7-6, they were 6-3 in conference.
Well, especially when you realize right before the season they find out that 30 guys are out. That to me was one of the best coaching jobs.
That's true.
Yeah.
2 of their first, or I guess, 2 of their 3 non-conference games were their first 3 games of the season. They lose against Iowa by 7 and at Ohio in a game, by all accounts, they probably should have won.
That field goal went in. That game goes to overtime. It should have went to overtime
against a good Ohio team, a 10-win Ohio team. So they recovered nicely. Ended up winning 6 out of the last 8.
Had Texas on the ropes. That was had the team that played in the playoffs on the ropes, and they were starting all these freshmen and underclassmen. Those guys are all back. Like I said, I think they returned the most production out of any team in the nation.
6 of the last 9. I mean they are a good team. I think obviously Rule did a great job, circling the wagons. Campbell. Yeah. And getting them going in the right direction. UCF, I think, is more of a question mark. 3-6 in conference last year.
It's more so though that that was their first year. We saw this when Utah and TCU joined. The first year they struggled. The second year they catch. Some of the things they've done in the portal, to me,
they understand what the new challenge is week to week. They adjust. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think both these teams are in the process of growing. Do I think they'll both be bowling again? Yes. Do I expect either in the conference championship? No. But would it surprise me? No.
I mean, I think Iowa State belongs in the discussion for if people are going to say Arizona belongs in the discussion. If you're not saying Iowa State when they just recently played in the Big 12 championship just a few years ago, when they return majority of their roster.
Who's Iowa State got at quarterback right now?
They got Anthony Beck's son, Rocco Beck.
And then KJ Jefferson's at UCF now.
Yeah.
That could be a big improvement for UCF. I mean, I think both teams will be solid. About the matchup itself. Central Florida.
Well, that's the
TMZ
shitty
angle.
That's the shitty part of it. It's like
right.
Yeah. These teams have never played.
Colby hit the selling points on why it deserves to be played here, and it does deserve to be played here. The drawback is that it's the first matchup, and it's Orlando versus Ames. We're like,
Yeah.
what? Same
Yeah.
conference? Really? Like,
And
but that's where we're at these days.
And let me sell it a little bit better. UCF had their quarterback knocked out again. They didn't have John Rice Plumlee against Kansas State last year. They blew a 21 point, or I think a 35-7 lead against Baylor when Baylor came back and won 36-35. They only lost. Patty C's high on Oklahoma said last year was a great year. UCF loses by 2 in Norman. They're no longer in the conference. They lose by 1 to Texas Tech. I think they're a lot closer than people realize. So I think this game's got big time implications.
All right.
It could.
Yeah. All right, Patty C, you're on the clock.
Again, laugh all you will. Okay. God, this game sucks. I mean, this is on your shit list, but I don't see many games that are just naturally more compelling than this from a winning standpoint. I think we're at the shitty point in the schedule, right?
No, I think there's a couple games out there that still are appealing to me.
There's a couple.
I'm going to say a game that I mentioned is actually a decent game, and that is Iowa at Michigan State. I think
Did not make my top 30, but
look, Michigan State is a program that is going to always have talent with a good coach. It's probably a little bit of a turnkey situation. It might not be a turnkey national championship contender, but I think it's a turnkey 8 or 9 win team. A good coach with that talent.
it's a steady, even rivalry. Iowa has a 3-game lead. They've been playing since the 1950s. So there's that. That's the selling point to me. But as far as like, you can sell me on this too. I do think Iowa could make the Big Ten championship.
And I think Michigan State is going to be a bowl team. So therefore, you have a pretty solid game, especially at Michigan State.
Both of these are a little bit kind of brand name teams at this point too.
I like it. Well played, Patty.
Thank you.
I didn't have this in my top 30. You had it in your top 30, Nick?
I did in the 20s. So I had a couple games above it, but at this point, man, these games are interchangeable.
Well,
so
I'll be honest. The more I think about it, I think it deserves to be top 30. I still think it might be taken a little early right here, but I still think the more I think about it, it probably deserves to be top.
Well,
30.
the other choice was USC Maryland. So
no, that's.
I like this game
that's
better
not in
than
my top
USC
50.
Maryland.
Yeah,
me too.
That's not in my top 50 is USC Maryland, but
that might be my next pick. So we'll see.
Really?
Let me look around the board a little more.
Yeah, I like it. All right, folks, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience is brought to you by Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best player props to put your money on in a matter of seconds. So Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team full of data scientists and quants that focus on fine tuning their algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player props, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll through some sports book. And that's Rhythm, RITHMM. So what are you doing, folks? Start a free 7-day trial. Start winning with NBA player props with Rhythm, available wherever you get your apps. All righty, NC Nick.
I still got a couple ACC games to play, and this is a new one. And for all the same drawbacks that UCF Iowa State had, you could argue the same here. But also a little bit of a homer pick: NC State at Cal.
Nope, this is the one I say too. This is, to me, I had this one. They've never ever played, but I did think this. I said I was putting together this thing, and I was like, this could have major implications. Like I could see, like I know Cal's schedule's really hard.
Are they not the same team? Are they not the team that should be dominating a fairly talented state, but manages to fuck it up constantly?
Lately, State's had a little bit more success. NC State's had a couple 8-9 win seasons. When's the last time Cal's gotten that high?
Tedford, I think. No, I think Wilcox had one 8 year.
One of them.
But
marginally better success than NC State. But I get your point.
Well, and also Cal benefit. Like I feel like stepping away from playing Oregon and Washington. The Pac-12 North was actually really tough. I feel like more so than the South. This might. I mean, I don't know. They're playing cross country. I don't know if that helps them or not. But
well, no, to your point, I think you always mentioned the record of ACC teams or SEC teams traveling way out west.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a sneaky spot for Miami at Cal, for NC State at Cal, for some of the games at Stanford. So I think it's gonna be a good game.
So there's a lot of hype around NC State. Kramer was talking about them this
Because
year.
I was saying last week that Miami and Virginia Tech seem to be getting all the hype.
I would agree. I would agree that Miami and Virginia Tech are leading the way in that. But I will just say, there's been talk about NC State with getting Grayson McCall, and I'll be honest, the schedule is nice. It is very nice for NC State. They don't play Florida State. They do get Clemson early on, but even if they lose that, with Clemson playing Florida State and some other decent schools, I think NC State is one of the easier paths.
Oh my gosh!
Yes,
that's the only team that's in the preseason top 25.
That's what I'm saying.
Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah.
Well, that's irrelevant to making the ACC championship, though.
Right.
So to me, like that, when you don't play Florida State, you don't play Miami, who is supposed to be.
You don't play Virginia Tech.
You don't play Louisville, who played in the ACC championship a year ago.
This is a cakewalk.
This is the one they're going to lose. This is the one they're going to fuck up.
I mean, just say coming into this game, say NC State is successful in beating either Tennessee or Clemson. Obviously, not a gimme, but it's possible that NC State splits those two games. They could be 6-1 coming into this game, and they could definitely drop it also.
And I'll be honest, Cal's schedule's tough. I don't even see them. I think they can go the whole season without playing a 10-win team. You know what I mean? Like, I think Clemson is their best shot at a 10-win team.
This team leaves the state of North Carolina 3 times all year. One time is to South Carolina. One time to Atlanta, which isn't that far down the road either. This is the only
Northern California makes up for it.
I guess.
I mean, I actually think this is if we're basing this on history and of why NC State fucks up their season here, Cal wins. Cal beats them by like 20.
I mean, I think we can say right now, like I'm looking to take Cal and Stanford as home dogs, whether that's Miami coming to town, NC State coming to town. Who does Stanford have coming to town? Because I feel like there's definitely
SMU this week. This week.
And they also have Virginia Tech coming to town. That could be interesting. Louisville coming to town. That could be interesting. I'll be looking to take
Louisville will lose that game.
What will be the harder place for teams in the ACC to go to?
I actually think Memorial's harder because they actually sell it out.
I think Cal's a better team right now than Stanford too.
True, but I'm saying like a lot of people think
farm. What is the name of that?
A lot of people think, in my opinion, there's a big difference between Cal fans and Stanford fans. Cal fans, although they might be fickle, that place gets lit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of times where that place
Stanford's band gets lit.
No one goes to those fucking games.
But the
at least Cal,
never gets lit.
That place is still rocking a little bit. They might be on acid, don't even realize they're watching a football game, but they're
getting loud.
Sometimes they get grouped in. I think me and Mac were talking about this. I was like, Mac, because in college basketball we saw it this past year. Once what's his name came in there, Mark Madsen, that place started to pack. And I go, Cal's kind of actually. They get a lot of the bad rap, I think, from Stanford because they're rivals. You know what I mean? I feel like Cal
people just like kind of group them together like Northern California teams.
Exactly. And I think Cal actually packs it a lot better than say Stanford does. So
and let's not forget, shout out to Weehawk who's calling for that Western Carolina upset over NC State week 1.
I would love it. That would be so perfect. All right, I did like that played there. Jumps back to me. And
let me tell you what. I don't know if we're doing FCS, but there's
I'm doing it right now, buddy.
Obvious
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
And look, FCS, we'll still do our 3 FCS games, and this will be removed from it. But
this is the best. This deserves to be played a lot higher.
I agree. So I don't know what's stopping these universities from being in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
And how about, hey, Conference USA, you want to make a splash and you want to get a leg up on the Sun Belt or the AAC? I know you've already added Delaware and Missouri State. The Missouri State one, some puzzled by. These two schools have been playing at an FBS level for a long time. and this is the Dakota Marker rivalry. This has been happening for. They've had 100. This will be the 116th meeting, and North Dakota State has lost 5 straight, despite playing for the national championship against this team. Just say what 2 years ago. Crazy, because North Dakota State was dominating this rivalry, and the Jackrabbits jump up. I will take South Dakota State at North Dakota State. Call me a hipster, NC Nick, but this game is awesome. I know it's in a filthy Fargo Dome. I prefer it in Brookings, but in general, I know there's real hate, and I think there's a solid chance you're seeing a preview of the national championship yet again.
Not going out on much of a limb.
Yeah,
13 times in the last 13 years. These teams have appeared, including 11 victories. Only once.
Here's the problem.
Did one team not appear, and that was when James Madison beat North Dakota State in the semifinals.
He had a crowbar that in there.
Clear.
Here's
about
the problem, though, man. This game needs more national attention. It needs to be on national. They need to put this. I wish these universities would get smart and try to put this on a Friday night.
There you go.
Thursday night.
Stole my thunder.
I feel like the whole world doesn't know about this. I feel like this is like I remember I saw the movie Office Space opening weekend that the movie dropped. Me and my oldest brother went to go see it. We were the only fucking people in the movie theater. Opening night, right? Yeah. No one went to see that fucking movie when that came out.
Yeah.
It became a hit like
under the radar
in the rental stores. This is essentially, to me, that South Dakota State, North Dakota State. It's underrated. If you know football, you know this game.
It's underrated, and it's going to go straight up against Georgia, Texas, or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. But
I'll continue to beat this drum. Move that shit to Thursday or Friday night,
but I'll tell you this,
people
man.
Find out about it.
I bet you could. I would be curious when it's all said and done. You know, Boston College, Virginia Tech's on Thursday night. I bet you could make the case. I feel pretty accurate with this. I think there'll be more NFL players in this game, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, than Boston College, Virginia Tech. You look at it recently, the amount of players they've had drafted
reasonable
from those schools.
I mean, both these teams are playing big boy ass football. It is not gimmick football. They are lining up. They will go toe to toe with most of the Big Ten.
Dude, I call me crazy. You put South Dakota State, North Dakota State in the Big 12 this year. I think they're bowl teams.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that big of a stretch.
Yeah.
Oh, look, let's be honest. JMU was a step behind North Dakota State, a small step, but a clear step behind. Yeah. And JMU has come up and done great for 2 years. North Dakota State, and at this point, South Dakota State, who was where North Dakota State was, I bet South Dakota State with last year's team is a 9 or 10 win team in the Big 12. I don't know. Maybe that's too high, but they are awesome.
Well, we'll see week 1 when they take on Oklahoma State.
That's true. And
can't wait.
North Dakota State gets Colorado.
Colorado, yeah. I mean, North Dakota State's program, they have a brand new head coach. They've tinkered down a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're still they're getting
solid.
guys drafted still.
Yeah.
Anyway, that
pick.
game's that's college football 101. Patty C, where are you going here?
Okay.
Actually, hang on. If you're listening to this on the audio side, check out the B side. And if you're on YouTube, stay put. We're going to jump on over to the B side. But if you're on YouTube, just stay there. You're listening to the College Football Experience, Week 8 preview and picks. You better start thinking about yours. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience. Patty C's on the clock as we're drafting the top 30 games of the week for Week 8. Go listen to all of our other, or go listen to the A side for the top games, and also check out all the other 8-week previews and obviously college football team previews starting in the next 72 hours. So we've already recorded a few, all 134 teams. We will break down every single team with an episode. Also check out the FCS College Football Experience. Patty C, you're on the clock. What are you doing?
Look, I said I was going to do it. I'm going to do it, right? The last time USC, to my knowledge, came across the country to the DC area was against Virginia Tech in, I believe.
No, they played UVA and fucked them up too, dude.
Yeah, they did. But that wasn't really the DC area.
About
that was
one.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlottesville.
It was like
okay?
60.
Charles was
60
not
to
the
10.
DC area.
Yeah, let's be very clear about that. when they played Virginia Tech, I thought Virginia Tech got robbed. That was Virginia Tech close to their prime years. That was entertaining football. Were you at that game?
No, but
You were at the Boise, Virginia Tech game,
Virginia Tech
also
game.
at FedEx Field. But this game in College Park. Look,
completely disagree with this play.
Maryland an 8-5 team last year. USC an 8-5 team last year. Both are now Big Ten. All right, let's just ask you right off the top: who do you think is going to win?
USC.
You're so sure about that?
Very sure about it.
Now Lincoln Riley 12-2, 12-2, 12-2, 9-2, 10-2.
For Vanderbilt is much more live than Maryland is here.
I think Maryland fills out Bird Stadium, and probably one of the only times they do so. I think this is one venue that gets excited about having some. I mean, Maryland, we thought, oh, it's a boring game when Ohio State came to town, right? They got up for that. They should have fucking won, but they missed the 2-point conversion.
It was like 7 years ago.
Look, and now
Canada was there,
and now all of the recruiting that Mike Loxley has done is finally getting to a point where they've won 8 games consecutive years.
Oh, Patty's trying. Patty's
sleep
trying.
on it as
this
much
is a horrible
as you
game.
fucking
Worst play of the fucking draft right here.
Meanwhile, Lincoln Riley on the hot seat after an 8-5 team, 8-5 year. His team is regressing. He has to go across country. He takes an L here. Oh, that's a bad look.
You can't sell me on this being interesting.
Take your hipster ass down the fucking road because I know you hate.
This is a hipster play.
You're. What
are you talking about?
You're completely no. This
Maryland football has been relevant since fucking Boomer Esiason. The fuck out of here.
Legitimately quality football teams from a record standpoint, 8-5, both of them. And
we see.
Let me ask you this: who won last year, and who was whipping the dog shit out of Colorado on the football field for 3/4 of the game last year? That was USC. They were a far better football team than Colorado. To act like they're not a more compelling product straight up than Colorado is ridiculous. You can buy the fucking TMZ hype all you want about Deion Sanders,
but
he hasn't
playing
done
Maryland.
shit. Well, Maryland's an 8-5 team.
I played
and
Colorado against Arizona. Won 11 games.
Let's act like for 1 second that the Caleb
Colorado versus Maryland will be pretty boring.
Yeah, Colorado versus Maryland would be very boring.
Yes, but I'm talking about a team that won 11 games 2 years ago in USC, finished number 12 in the nation 2 years ago.
Right,
they had the Heisman.
This is a horrible
you know what?
pick.
You like it? That's your call. That's fine.
Well, there's just nothing else. I don't want to sit here.
True. There's not much else.
Fiddle my dick and act like what?
This is a horrible play.
I didn't
have
this
this in my top 50.
North Texas versus Memphis is a better fucking game than USC at Maryland.
It is
no,
better.
it is
Dallas
not.
against Memphis is better than.
I think this is realignment at its worst, but that's just my opinion.
Well, guess what? Realignment has always happened, and we don't need to be complete losers and bitch about it every fucking week. We can fucking, adjust to the present every once in a while and embrace.
The present is Georgia,
present.
Texas, which we embraced. This is the downside of it. That's this is the flip side of realignment.
You think? Okay, I'm trying to sell this cake.
Shout out to Kai Holstein. What's up, gentlemen? Had to join the best college football podcast for some off-season hype. Let's go.
I see his logo's Baylor. I would have played the Baylor game over this game. Maybe that'll be coming up
because that's
soon.
a historic rivalry.
Who's Baylor playing?
Texas Tech, the Butt Bowl.
We'll get there.
Might be
Moving
better.
along.
Might be better.
Look,
This
I
is a
think this
horrible
game
fucking
sucks.
play.
Patty C
dude,
likes it.
I'll be honest. Like this was very far back.
Wow.
Very, very far back for me. I think there's a shit ton of other games way more interesting, including his own Wahoos. I find that game more interesting than this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, it's a coaching thing. Tony Elliott.
You're high on Tony Elliott now?
No,
Well,
he
no,
was at
at Clemson.
Clemson.
I get that.
Yeah.
Not
And-
much of an angle.
Forgot
Well,
that angle.
It's a historic rivalry. You know.
Yeah, it's one of the worst rivalries from a
Well, let me
record
tell you
stand-
something. Maryland USC have never.
All right,
fucking played,
hold on.
all
Let's
right?
not talk about that game until we play it. This is why our pods go 3 hours long. Okay, whose pick is it? God damn it!
Oh, yours. What a horrible fucking. I just can't get over it playing that. What a horrible play.
All right, well, get ready for this one. Play with the music.
All right. I don't even know where the fuck it is.
Please
Just
give
go.
me UCLA Rutgers. Please.
Where
No.
you going, Nick?
I'm going to the Rudy game rematch. Yes, Rudy was offsides. Notre Dame at Georgia Tech.
I don't know how you could think this is
Notre-
going to be a terrible game.
Notre
Because
Dame
it's
better
at
watch
the
out.
fucking Mercedes-Benz Dome. That's why. You took the
Okay.
fun of. You took the element
That
of the
does
upset.
suck. That
Fair.
does
He took
suck.
the
And
element
honestly,
of the upset. It's going to be all Notre Dame fans.
honestly,
They
I
butchered
didn't,
this fucking game.
I didn't
Fair.
factor that in because fucking ESPN still says at Georgia Tech. But you're right, and that does bring this game down a notch. Damn it, I'll own it. This game sucks now. I agree, but I'm still playing it, so keep it going.
They're so stupid. How dumb can you be, Georgia Tech? How dumb can you be? You take the element of your
I
upset.
wonder if Notre Dame has some like flex in the ACC with the scheduling part of their agreement where they can get one game in a neutral site every so often, and this is the one they chose. I mean, they do it with Syracuse. I feel like they play in like the
They do it
Yankee
with
Stadium.
every game this year.
They're always finagling a way to play a neutral
This
site.
game. I actually believe NCAA would have a great fucking point if this is in Bobby Dodd. But the fact this is going to be a Notre Dame crowd, I think they're gonna whoop their ass.
It
If
seems
this
I,
is
I
Bobby
still
Dodd-
I still think it might be close, but yeah, I mean, come on,
Brent Key.
play at Georgia Tech.
No, they did. Georgia Tech did this with Louisville last year, though. I think it's Georgia Tech made a deal with
It
the
is.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah,
It's a stupid fucking. They're crippling their own future by this dumbass deal.
Yeah,
by having-
selling out to the dollar.
Especially to Notre Dame, which is a national brand. At least Louisville, but Louisville's fans came down there because of Brom's situation. They were super happy to get Brom.
Yeah,
that
so
was
why-
a fucking Louisville crowd?
Why is Georgia Tech doing it? Because they're not opening up a bigger stadium for more Georgia Tech fans. They're just opening up a bigger stadium for more of the opponent's fans.
Well, they're
Yeah.
probably making money hand over
Yeah,
fist.
I think
I'm
Mercedes
sure,
Benz gave them money to play game.
yeah,
there.
there's more seats in there, and
But that's the
the
problem.
tickets
though.
are probably more expensive.
But they're doing this, and they're handicapping their own long-term success. Georgia Tech, it wasn't that long ago they were nationally relevant. All right, whether it was Paul Johnson winning Orange Bowls, whether it was George O'Leary, or whether it's Bobby Ross winning a fucking national championship, you're handicapping your own
You're
fucking
in
success.
Georgia, it's the fourth most talented state.
You play at Bobby Dodd. That's a much more winnable game. Guess what? You bring recruits there. You beat a top 10 Notre Dame team or a playoff team. It's going to travel some, but you do this, and that's going to be a Notre Dame crowd, and you deserve all terrible things moving forward because you're fucking terrible. All right. It's just annoying to me. It's like, what are you doing? You're fucking.
You know what it does too? It hurts the ACC.
It does. It does. Man.
Getting a win over Notre Dame would be a nice look for the ACC, but they blow it.
Anyway, NC Nick playing that trash.
Maybe I blew it too.
Wasn't paying attention. But okay, I don't know where the hell is this NFL draft music? I don't remember where the fuck it is. I'll just play. I don't know. Gosh.
You play this one 30 times an episode. You think you know where it's at?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just start.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Where
Just
the
give
fuck
us a
it is.
jingle.
There it is. I got it. I found it. All right, you guys just some weak ass plays lately.
What else is out
All right.
there?
Well, there's a few. All right.
Houston, Kansas. I know that one's coming.
Definitely better than Maryland USC.
No, it is not. A 4-8 Houston team traveling to Kansas.
Houston, but 2 years ago they were a bowl team.
Are you picking the game or not?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I get so sick and
no.
tired of this nonsense.
We're
Matty
going.
C. Colby's on the clock, not you. Let him pick a game first and then talk shit.
How about a little rivalry game? All right, there's a couple rivalry games out there. How about the Battle of the Ram Falcon Trophy? Air Force, Colorado State, Mountain West football at its finest. Fuck Patty C with his
Actually
stupid
a good
fucking
play.
plays.
Actually a good
All
play.
right.
Respect it.
Patty C with this bullshit TMZ. This game's fun as shit. It's a big year for Jay Norvell. Troy Calhoun's been dominating. You want to talk about stakes to make the playoffs? Air Force getting disrespected with everyone's. I listened to a bunch of other fucking people say Liberty's already in that game. They're forgetting about the Air Force Falcons that win 10 games every goddamn year. All right. And the fact that they had this deal with the Pac-2 is only going to strengthen their strength of schedule. I'm all over this. I know Air Force has won like 7 in a row though. So Jay Norvell better get his shit together.
I'll tell you what. Last time, they've been through some struggles for a long time. Sonny Lubbock ain't walking through that door. However, Jim McElwain about a decade ago
Had it rolling.
4-8, 8-6, 10-3. Jay Norvell 3-9, 5-7. Is this the year we jump
He's
up
getting it going a little
to
bit. I
a
think
winning
so.
record? He had been a great coach.
These are
at
2 bowl
Nevada.
teams this year. 2 bowl teams this year.
Very potentially 2 bowl teams. How far away are these? This is like 100-mile away.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean Colorado Springs to Fort Collins.
It's
Nick.
longer than that.
Yeah,
So, I mean, they're on one's north of Denver, one's south of Denver, so it's probably a little.
Which
bit like
one
a
am I confusing though?
like 3-hour drive.
you're
or
thinking of
something,
Wyoming.
4-hour drive.
Wyoming, Colorado State is
You're
really
right.
close. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I am playing Colorado State Air Force. Nick, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, Patty C fucked up originally and played the first G5 game, which should not have been first. This is at least closer to the top of the list. You might be able to argue.
I'm going to say this is better than the
Miami
Sundog
versus
game.
No,
He's saying
that's the
South
thing.
Alabama, Troy, but to me, they're both brand new head coaches. There's less appeal to that game, even though it's a weeknight game. I think Colorado State Air Force is a better game than that one.
I think this is the
Absolutely.
best Mountain West game. So that is, I understand that argument. If it was on a weekday, then maybe you could talk me into it. But yeah, fun game.
Yeah.
Let's be clear here. Just because a game is, going to be watched doesn't make it a better game. I think that should have a little bit of an impact on how we rate these games. But overall,
well,
the
I mean,
quality of the game should override the competition for
that's
viewership.
an interesting point. But like, what are you more looking forward to watching? Is kind of how I rate these.
Well, I'll tell you
And,
also.
and
though,
honestly, I'm probably not going to watch much of this game because it's going to be on late on a Saturday.
no,
with
but
everything
let me-
else prime time Saturday.
well, no, let me sell you on the fact that the same argument of if this was played on the weeknight, it wouldn't change the time it was kicked because that's in Colorado Springs.
Right.
I'm
so
going to say
I might catch
there's-
the first half then.
Well, hang on. My point is that with all these other games in these conference realignment, this might be your lone. UCLA is at Rutgers. USC is at Maryland. This might be your lone late night kick. Now I know there's UNLV at Oregon State. I know there's SMU at Stanford, but I bet you that.
Hold on. Oh,
What's
late
that?
night. A late night. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this might be the
Excellent.
only game, like the best game on at that time slot. Is my point.
Could be.
Oregon's at Purdue, so you're not going to get Oregon or UCLA or USC.
Wyoming, San Jose State could be a decent game.
Yeah, but Colorado State Air Force is better than that.
NC State Cal could be on late.
True, but that also could be. Cal has a lot of 3:30 games, so that could be out here on the West. So like that. My point is that this Colorado State Air Force game could be the main game on at night,
SMU
which would be
Stanford could be on late.
which would be the same as it would be on a Thursday. So,
Solid
yeah.
point. I'm going to disagree with you though that game is better than Wyoming, San Jose State.
What?
San Jose State was 7-6. Wyoming was 8-5.
Brendan's gone though.
Yeah.
Same with Craig Bull.
Yeah, but you have said yourself that you think Wyoming won't drop
True,
off.
but I think like Air Force is like Air Force
Well,
could be in the playoffs.
of course, I
Yeah.
think Air Force is the best of those 4 teams. Do we think
Whose
Colorado
pick
State-
is it? And what game are you
All
picking?
right, let's go. All right, let's go.
I think Colorado State is better, but than San Jose State right now. They're having a major. They're going to the red
I
and
agree
shoot.
with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
But are you playing that right now? Is that what you're
No.
playing? Oh, okay.
I'm gonna play an ACC game, as Nick alluded to. We are going to Palo Alto,
I do love this one.
where the Mustangs of Southern Methodist University.
Private school pussy championship. One that'll murder anybody. Like just the dirtiest. I just feel like it's great. And the other one thinks they're like the greatest thing on earth, even though they're little bitches. So SMU Stanford is what Patty C is playing. Have they ever played before? Do we know
Once.
this?
In 1936, Stanford won 7-0.
See, almost 100-year-old rivalry.
Now let me ask you this: Stanford 11-3 last year, or SMU 11-3. Stanford 3-9, an 8-game difference in terms of total wins. Do we think that Stanford at home might still be able to steal a win here?
Yes.
Or is
I
this a
think it's a
horrible
ball game.
mismatch?
No,
Yeah.
I think
No,
it's a ball
I don't
game.
think SMU's that good. You look at SMU, what they did. This is a team that lost to Boston College in the bowl game. I forget how many teams with a winning record they beat. I think it was like 2. So like
maybe not even if I remember correctly.
yeah, I remember like this is another one. Last year, SMU playing in the AAC championship and winning the AAC championship. A lot of it had to do with schedule.
Yeah.
They had a 14-team conference.
And actually,
what
you're
I mean?
right, Colby, because they beat Memphis and Tulane, so 2.
But that was in the championship game. In the regular season, I think it was just one team. They had one team with a winning record on their schedule.
And we're not
Or
including
they beat one team. Yeah.
Prairie View A&M, who I think maybe eked out a winning record in the FCS.
Yeah. Don't
Doesn't
disrespect. Disrespect my guy Bubba McDowell.
Rhett Lashley, Troy Taylor. Are we going to see offensive fireworks this
is
game?
going to be 55-52. The ACC's maybe they're the new Big 12.
Well, I mean, that's the hilarious thing about this game is that it's an ACC game, SMU at Stanford. So
Yeah.
there you go.
So
For a year, at
major
least.
implications. Yeah. Nick, is this the ACC game you can't wait to see?
No, not really. But look, it belongs to be played around here. So there's some intrigue.
All right. I think it does deserve to be played there. Before we get to that, I want to tell NC Nick's next pick. That is, I want to tell the folks out there that the college football experience is brought to you by the college baseball experience. Yes, the college baseball tournament starts Friday, and Noah Beanick has you covered with the college baseball experience. Plus, hop in the college baseball bracket contest for a chance to win $250. I'm sorry, a $200 SGPN gift card. So check that out. And also want to tell you that we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to catch. To play fantasy sports and cash out on fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower points, rebounds, assists, whatever player props you could find here. And you can also mix and match across sports, whether it's NBA players, you can say one NBA player, one NHL, one UFL, you got it all, or MLB, whatever. You go up to 100 times the amount of money you enter, and it's a ton of fun. Underdog's available in 30 different states, including California and Texas, and even the great country of Canada. So what are you doing? Hop on over there. And they just launched their champions, their player versus player format for this great state of Florida. So hop on over there, sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. All right. NC Nick is on the clock. Where you going?
That was a very well-timed cliffhanger to play the music and then to stop it. I mean, right now, everybody's just dying to hear what I have to say.
I love the confidence.
And I will take you to the first Sunbelt game of the weekend, or not really the weekend because it's on a Tuesday, but it is Troy, South Alabama, arguably the top 2 best Sunbelt West teams over the last couple of years. Yes, both teams have new head coaches.
Rivalry game too. I do believe they hate each other.
In state, I mean, you could argue that the two teams might regress some without those coaches, but you could argue that there's maybe more interest to see how the new coaches do. So Troy, South Alabama, Tuesday night.
I think the problem, look, I love the weekday game. I think it's a big time matchup, but Troy has dominated this fucking rivalry. The 7 straight for the Trojans. Can the South Alabama Jags catch them sleeping a little bit? Look, it's a great weekday game. I'm glad this one's there. I think it's one of the better weekday games. But I was much more excited at this last year than this year.
2 years ago, they had a weekday game. I think the score was like 10-7. Troy won.
Yeah.
Colby was hard all 3 hour long.
That's the way a football score should look. All these assholes that won a 55-52 game, they don't even realize. All right. But
Gerard Parker and Major Applewhite at the helm.
I love Major Applewhite as a player.
Yeah.
All right.
Chris Sims should have never gotten a starting gig.
Yeah. I agree.
That was one of the most nepotism-esque moves of all time by Texas.
I know. Mac Brown should have stuck Chris. I almost say Chris Mims. Chris Sims. Chris Mims, the old defensive end for the San Diego Chargers.
Should have stuck him in a locker like Mike Leach.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You get these pompous assholes like Phil Sims and Craig James demanding their son to play, and you start listening to that bullshit. That's when you start losing.
Stuff him in a locker. Mike Leach has a bully.
He didn't actually stuff him in a locker though.
I like that story
People
happened
think
now.
Yeah. But anyway.
Good play.
Yeah.
Good play.
It's a good play. You like the play, Penny?
Sunbelt football.
I feel decent that both teams could be bowling.
We're still in divisions in the Sunbelt at this point.
They're the only conference left still doing it.
This was the number 1 and 3 teams in the Sunbelt West last year. So
1 and 2 the year before.
Yeah, there are definitely stakes here potentially if these new coaches continue to success. Wow, I can't talk of the old coaches.
How many picks do we have left?
I don't know, but
let's roll through them.
2 beers left, so let's go.
Well, it jumps over. It jumps over to old Dundee here, and I see opportunity. All right. I see opportunity for a team that I think. Well, actually, no. I'm going to say it. I think Washington State could make the college football playoff, and I got the Rolovich Bowl happening. So shout out to Washington State. They got the Leach Bowl earlier in the year. Now we got the Rolovich Bowl. Bring your Vax card. And look, Hawaii at Washington State. Timmy Chang, June Jones' disciple, take it on Jake Dickert. You think Nick Rolovich isn't going to help his former backup quarterback Timmy Chang and tell him, hey, fuck these boys and pull them in there. All right. I like this game on the schedule. And I think Washington State, I think everyone's forgetting that. And I think it's going to be hilarious when Washington State makes the playoff before Washington does. So Hawaii at Washington State. Nick, your thoughts?
I mean, Washington State could easily have a couple losses. I mean,
they could also be the top team.
There are 2 games before this for at Boise and at Fresno. That doesn't even count the fact that they have Texas Tech and Washington on the schedule before that.
That's what I'm saying, though. But their strength of schedule is going to be so much harder because
but they gotta win games too. They can't just have a good strength of schedule.
Wait a second here. You think Texas Tech's just going to walk into Pullman and win because we saw Wisconsin? Wisconsin tried that last year.
No, but I'm just saying they could.
Sure, but I also think Washington State could be in a great spot this year. Even with 2 losses, I think they might get in over a undefeated Liberty because
can Hawaii go up there and win, or is this going to be a double-digit win?
Yeah, that's really.
I think Hawaii's a bowl team this year. You got it on record.
They're making steps, but I don't know if this is all that competitive, and it's going to be on late night. I don't know. I mean, East Coast bias over here. This game doesn't do much for me.
This is late night play.
It's Pac-12.
They were 1 game away from making a bowl last season. This is year 3 of Timmy Chang. They are going bowling. They beat Air Force. Patty C just said Air Force is the best team in the nation. So, what are you talking about? They also beat Reese Poffenberger last year.
I think there's better P4 games left.
Well, I happen to think this is a P4 game.
No, it's not. You have a G5. You have it's all straight G5 or what the hell you're calling the P2.
Pac-2 is,
but it's not.
In.
Well, Hawaii's not, so it's not. You know,
they're a state school, only school in the state.
All right.
Let's go, Patty. See your thoughts on Hawaii, Washington State.
What makes this a little bit compelling is
the Rolovich Bowl.
Well, Rolovich, sure, but
even though he's at neither.
Yeah.
No, but this is
There's some
Timmy
history.
Chang backed him up at Hawaii.
I don't think that's a huge selling point for most people.
No, it's not.
I think that the competitiveness of this game, could be a compelling part of it. But 2 5-7 teams last year.
I think it's a fun game. Fun game.
All right. West Coast Colby over here.
Let's go. Get me off the island, Patty. See where you go.
Look.
I mean, shit. Hawaii's playing a BCS game before Maryland has.
That's true. Maryland has never sniffed that. Look, fuck you guys. I'm gonna say it. Wisconsin traveling to Northwestern. What? I mean, 7-6.
No,
Northwestern 8-5.
It's look. I'm a Big Ten West hater.
Competitive game.
I think historically it does go
fine.
back.
It belongs to be here.
These are usually the Big Ten West championship team contenders over the past decade or so, maybe 2. So, look, even though Patty Fitzgerald's not there anymore, Northwestern did great last year. I don't know that either is a contender, but at this point, it's 2 bowl teams and a pretty good game.
They've been playing since 1890.
There you go.
That's your selling point.
There you go.
This is one of the oldest games ever played. But look, it deserves to be top 30. It's not Hawaii and Washington State, but it's nice.
Well, let's consider this. Maybe Northwestern has another good year, and this new coach, even though he's on everyone's shit list,
what do you mean? He's a North Dakota State guy.
Well, just by replacing.
But he was hired by Fitzgerald, so you can't be mad at him.
Yeah, you can't be mad at him, but I think all of us are just rooting for Northwestern's demise for firing.
Well, just everyone that ever went to Northwestern has never been cool.
Yeah,
with the exception of Pat Fitzgerald.
Right.
And maybe Neil Bardison's grandfather, but I'm guessing he was on the Wisconsin side.
It's true.
Maybe we start to consider Northwestern a pretty good program again if they get another win, and then Wisconsin could be on the come up. These could be two pretty good teams by the time this game gets played.
Sure.
Don't
Nick,
need to dwell on it.
anything else?
Not really. My pick, right?
Yeah.
Tell me.
I said Nick. You're next.
You said Nick. Anything else?
Okay, and then I played the music. You're after Patty C.
All right. Let's say the Big Ten. We talked about earlier, Michigan, Illinois. Is it the best game in the world? No, but I think it's a.
I had it as the number one most interesting game in the Big Ten, but you guys certainly disagreed.
In conference road game, all eyes are going to be on Michigan this year to see how they are. Life after Harbaugh, life after all the players that went to the NFL and everything else. And I think it's a dangerous game for them.
And this does go back to the 1800s as well. 1898. Michigan has won 5 straight, but some of these. Oh wait, no, that's basketball, right? Hang on. Wait.
Illinois was 5 and 7.
It is 5 straight. Wait, Michigan and Illinois played in a game that they scored 60 points.
Wow.
Why do I not remember that?
Illinois almost beat them 2 years ago.
That was the game Denard Robinson went off.
67, 65.
Remember the game in the Big
he
House?
ran for 250 and threw for 250. I feel like in that game.
2 years ago, Michigan should have lost. That was bullshit.
Illinois should have won that game.
Yes. So the last time they played, that should have happened. But I mean, look, I think this is the most compelling Big Ten game this week. So I think it's correctly played. If anything, I've actually forgotten I would have played this over Hawaii and Washington State. So nice play in that regard. Patty C, your thoughts?
Well, from a straight win totals standpoint for the week, this is one of the better games. Most of that obviously comes from Michigan going 15-0 last year. I think the gap is significantly closed between these two teams, and the fact that it's in Champaign, it could be all right. Could be a decent game.
It's good. It's a good spot. It's a good spot for
and it's Big Ten West body on body football. Always fun to watch.
I mean, Michigan's Big Ten.
Yeah, they should be the Big Ten West.
All right, jumps back to old Dundee. God, he just got me taking these fucking. No, I'm taking you to the Butt Bowl. Baylor, Texas Tech deserves to be played. You losers don't appreciate good football.
It's a good game.
And Baylor, Texas Tech have been playing for a long fucking time, and you keep playing this cockamamie stuff here. The Butt Bowl is a real rivalry. This goes back 100 years, and or just about 100 years, and if you told me one of these teams played for the Big 12 championship, I would not be surprised. Now I don't think it's as much as UCF Iowa State, but I still think it wouldn't be that shocking. Baylor was in it 2 years ago. Texas Tech had high expectations a year ago. Patty C always talks about the year after the year. Could this be the year after the year?
The guy behind the guy.
How about this? Baylor's got a one game lead. They've been playing since in the 1920s, and Baylor has just a 1 game lead. That's what makes a good rivalry.
Yeah,
let's
they
go.
are about at the same level of a program. Texas Tech had their peaks with Leach and dropped off a little bit, but McGuire's got them back going in the right
when
direction.
Leach was there and stuff, they had from 96 to 2010, which is I think the year Leach left. Texas Tech won every game.
Wow. And then Art Briles. Who else was there?
Cliff Kingsbury.
You
had Matt Rule.
Yeah, they all had some. That was a nice little era. I don't think they're very far removed from it. Yeah, this is still a pretty good game.
It deserves to be drafted. Nick hates it though.
No. It deserves to be played here. This is Wisconsin Northwestern. This is from a couple weeks ago. This is NC State Wake Forest. This is a game that goes back almost except for this one doesn't go back quite as long as those other ones.
This is more entertaining than those games.
Wake Forest.
I disagree. I think people in Texas might agree with you, but people in North Carolina don't. I don't think people in Wisconsin do.
Nationally, both
the people
these
in
teams.
California think Baylor Texas Tech is more interesting than North Carolina State Wake Forest.
I don't think so. I don't think they care about either.
When's the last time Wake Forest or NC State's been in the top 10? Because both these teams have been in the top 10 over the past 15 years.
Don't try to tell me that Baylor, Texas Tech is that much better than Wisconsin,
You're
Northwestern,
right. It's
or
not
NC State, Wake
that
Forest.
much better. It's
I'm
a
just
little
saying,
better.
It's
Baylor
Texas's
has been-
version. This is
No,
Texas's
but
version. This is
Texas does football better than those places, so it is much more relevant. They have much better.
I think
Dude,
it's much more relevant, but
Wake Forest and NC State. When's the last time they were in the top 10?
I don't know.
Phillip Rivers. Probably.
The thing about
like
at the very least, Baylor recently, you could say probably under Leach with Texas Tech that they were a national title contender for at least a year.
What do you mean? They were number 2 in the nation
For at least a year, for 1
Yeah.
year. Baylor, I think, was pretty close most of the time. I don't think that Wake Forest or NC State ever came into that stratosphere of
never.
a team.
They've
Yeah.
never.
Oh, so Wisconsin has, but Northwestern hasn't. Yeah, I mean, in the last 20 years, has Baylor and Texas Tech been a slightly better than NC State, Wake Forest? Sure, but
Slightly better.
it's the
I would
same
say-
game.
Wake Forest has been pretty good
What?
for the most part
What are
for
you
the last
talking about?
15 years. I mean, I don't think they've been talented enough to like be a national champion. They've won a lot of games, a lot more than you would normally think. I don't think Wake Forest, NC State's a bad game. I think this is a little more compelling because there's more talent on the field. But ultimately, I think your point has some gravity there, Nick. That it's comparable in terms of national interest.
Exactly. Regionally, it might mean a lot, but nationally, it doesn't.
I would push back and say that both have been just. I put them on a whole different plateau.
Baylor and
than-
Texas Tech,
like
in my estimation, are both, kind of second tier teams at best.
I bet you Baylor's been in the top 10 5 times over the past 15 years.
Baylor, if
Yeah.
anyone, is the one team out of those that has title hopes. But NC State always has that potential. NC State's like Clemson.
But the problem is NC State never does get in the top 10.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying.
They never
It's
do
like
it.
it's like saying Arizona State then. You know what I mean? Like,
Baylor's so Baylor and Wisconsin. So of those 6 teams we mentioned, Baylor and Wisconsin have had the most success. Yes, but when's the last time NC State had a 3-win season? That's what Baylor's coming off
Facts.
of, right?
who was right
Higher
before
floor,
Dave Doran?
Higher
Probably.
floor. I don't. Who was before Doran? I don't know. NC
It's
State.
the guy from
O'Brien.
Yeah,
I'm sure he might have.
I don't think so
Why'd they fire him then?
because he was going 6-6 every year.
That's what the whole history of the fucking program.
Well, I mean, I think they've been justified with firing him because they've been a little bit better under Dorn.
no,
No doubt.
Yeah,
No doubt.
I would agree, but
Baylor,
I'm just saying,
Texas Tech, decent play here.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with the play.
he's a hater on the Big 12 though. That's what we're arguing about.
So this is my second to last pick here.
Yeah.
Well, why beat around the bush and keep you good people waiting for it? We are talking about James Madison University going to Georgia Southern, right? Your 11-win JMU Dukes from last
They're
year.
gonna get caught. They're gonna get caught.
Look, we got caught at Georgia Southern a couple years ago. Now, granted, Kyle Van Treese ain't walking through that door, but I feel like maybe homeboy at coach, former USC coach,
Clay Helton.
Clay
He'll be
Helton
fired.
might
Yeah.
have something up his sleeve for the Dukes if we're not careful.
He did beat him in Statesboro last time.
That's right, 2 years ago. So we are very
Shout out to
wary.
Clay.
We respect Georgia Southern, and I think the fans should watch this game. If
Haven't
they
they dominated JMU historically?
Let's not talk about that. I think they have. But what happened last year, Colby? What happened?
Finally caught him.
What have you done for me lately?
So they've been playing since 1985, and JMU is 2-8 all time.
Well, it's easy to see a tide turn, Colby.
No, but I like it. I think this is. I had this as a top 30 game. Now I also will say, NC Nick, that NC State was 4-8 in 2019. By the way,
I said 3-9.
Okay.
You know what?
Well, they play 8 conference games. Texas Tech plays 9. Kind of matters.
Anyway, we've moved on.
Yeah.
Well,
I will
haven't
say
moved on. I'm going to take a shotgun for the Dukes here. You guys can keep talking.
I was just
Anyway.
going to say that I mean, it's a decent game here. You won't see me argue too much with the Sunbelt game, but I think I would have rather played a Tuesday or Wednesday CUSA game over this one personally.
Oh, that makes
I don't know.
sense.
I don't know that I would. I don't know. I think
You
it's-
also
it's
didn't
close.
go to JMU.
Well, I understand the
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
angle too. Sure. How many more games we got left here?
You got one more. Wait, Colby, you went first?
No, Nick went first.
I did.
Okay, so we're all on our last pick here.
Where you going there? Where you going there, NC Nick?
Just to prove that I'm not a hater, I will take Houston at Kansas, even though it sounds like a much better basketball game than a football game. It's still interesting because Kansas has a high ceiling this year, and even though I think they have the third highest odds to win the Big 12, I don't feel like enough people are talking about them. I feel like people are talking about K-State, they're talking about Utah, they're talking about Iowa State, West Virginia, who knows, but they kind of keep on forgetting Kansas. And I gotta represent for Weehawk here, Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Dude, this is two of the best coaches in football, in my opinion.
Well, there's
college
a
football,
reason.
I think they're two of the more underrated coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fritz,
Wait.
Fritz and Leipold.
Fritz, yeah. Now that he's there, Houston. I mean, would you say that's a definite improvement at coach for Houston?
1,000%.
Yeah.
I think it's not even comparable.
That does make Houston an interesting team.
I mean, Houston has a high ceiling too. I mean, just given their location,
Yeah, definitely. Funny, incredible what they've done with the basketball program. Not incredible, I guess you should expect it at a super high population, super talented city like that. And now the football team might be following in their footsteps. So let's see.
Let's go. Well played.
By the way, go Dukes.
Get your little gun. There you go. Patty C, youtube.com/the college experience. Hit that like and subscribe button as Patty C bongs a beer. Oh man, I'm so tempted to take you to a nice battle in the AAC that might have major implications. You know what? NC Nick played the game I was going to play, so I will take you to one of the greatest landscapes in all of college football. Mikey Stadium, East Carolina at Army. I'm excited to go up there.
Good play.
And beat the piss out of those, no, I'm joking. That stadium's awesome. It's a good game. I think Army, they're going back to the triple option this year. I expect Mike Houston to have ECU contending. You want to talk about winning the portal? I think, and I almost played FAU at UTSA because I think that's a huge game in the AAC. But I also think the AAC, if I had to guess, Big 12, I think, is the hardest conference to project. The second would be the AAC to me. I feel like I have a much better grasp on all the other.
The MAC.
I think the MAC's a little more obvious this year.
Maybe.
I think it's Miami, Ohio, Toledo. So I think those two conferences, and I think when you talk about Army and ECU, I think those are two surprise teams to me. I think everyone's factoring in UTSA or Memphis or Tulane. I think FAU is a surprise team. I think ECU and I think Army are all surprise teams to watch out for. And I'll even throw Tulsa in there as well. ECU at Army is my play. Patty C, you like this one? You love this one? Why?
I do like it. I think Army has shown time and again that they are, if they have it going, that's the type of offense and defense that can get an edge, and that builds that you either have it or you don't at Army. And you run the triple option, you either have it or you don't. And if they have it, then they're going to have a lot of wins.
And Army's never beaten ECU. ECU's 8-0 all time.
Have they ever gone up to Mikey Stadium?
I believe so. They were they won. Steve Logan won 31-25 and 95.
Two passionate fan bases in very different ways.
Dude,
East Carolina and Army.
They are 4-0 in Mikey Stadium.
Wow.
Let's go.
Impressive.
Make it 5-0. All right. NC Nick's a hater on this one.
Well, when you're talking about this ideal, this classic location, I thought for sure you would take me to the Sun Bowl Wednesday night. So I was thrown for a loop a little bit. I don't think I'm going to watch much of this game.
Colby certainly will be.
He's a hater.
And
Northeast, because it's Northeast football.
I guess so.
That's why it's in West Point, and he rules it out. Final pick of the draft, Patty C.
I could take you to Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks going back to Norman to try and clip Oklahoma. I'm not going to do it. I could take you to UCLA traveling across country to try and face Rutgers.
Wake UConn is more entertaining than that game.
Well, at a certain point, I feel like the hilarity of these shitty matchups makes them a little more compelling than just an absolute boring matchup.
What about your Ball State Cardinals going into the construction zone to take on Vandy?
That's going to be played a little later here. No, I'm going to take a flyer on a game between two teams that have potential to be good. I think could be a year away from being good. But maybe they're ahead of schedule here. We're talking about Arizona State at Cincinnati.
This is the one Big 12 game that I couldn't get on board with.
Is this 3-9 versus 3-9? Is that what it is?
Was Arizona State 3-9? I think they're 4-8. I don't know.
The series does go back to the 1950s.
3-9 versus 3-9.
Does go back to the 1950s though. He's got that on his side. Cincinnati's 2-0 all time against him.
I think. Look,
this is the one I couldn't get on board with.
This might be the worst two teams in the conference.
It might be, but the conference itself is pretty solid across the board. I think that Cincinnati, found ways to lose games last year, and I think they're probably a better team than their record. They only lost a 10-11 win Oklahoma team by 14 points.
Yeah.
And Arizona State is always right there. Plus, what is it? Dillingham second year.
Yep.
Fucking Satterfield second year. Both of these teams stand to improve a little bit. This could be two bowling teams.
NC Nick, your thoughts?
This game sucks, man. Come on, let's go.
Haters.
This is USC Maryland to me.
It's a little bit of uniform.
No,
a little bit.
Yeah, you can't really compare the two. I mean, USC has a chance to win 10 games this year. Come on.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Arizona State came up and won a bunch.
USC,
game.
Maryland are probably good. Both going to be over 500. These two teams are probably good. Both going to be under 500, just like last year.
I'm not sold on Maryland being over 500 this year.
Well, they've been over 500 for the last 5 years.
I know, but there's a brand new Big Ten.
Hi.
Well, we don't need to re-argue that game again.
Was in the playoffs 3 years ago.
A lot has changed since then. New conference, new coach, new quarterback.
Not that much. Okay. Oh, sorry.
He took that over Virginia Clemson. I was surprised. I thought he was going Virginia Clemson.
That game sucks.
All right, now comes our Lou Holtz what the fuck game of the week. Why is the game scheduled? What the hell is it doing there? And why should cameras not be allowed?
I don't get rain man cold.
NC Nick, where are you going here?
Yeah, I think this is a problem for the American Conference because I think they find themselves on this list. And Tulsa at Temple. I mean,
every year this game. But this is even before the realignment. This is like an old school AAC game. Every year I circle this game as the worst game.
Yeah.
Like one of the worst games. Temple this is Tulsa King. This is Stallone, Rocky Balboa.
That's right.
Going to Tulsa.
Only this game is in Temple, right?
Yeah. This game,
which makes it even worse. Which stadium is sleepier?
No, I like H.A. Chapman. At least it's a classic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Link is just you shouldn't play college football.
The Link is the worst venue in all of college football.
Yeah.
No.
It's right
Alamo
there.
Dome. No, Syracuse.
Alamo Dome gets lit.
Carrier Dome. No, UNLVs. What are we talking about?
Yeah, okay.
UNLVs.
Dude, the Link has like
top 10 though.
People.
Top 10 worst.
It's very bad.
Yeah. Well, dude, there's like 8 people at UNLV. They won 10 games last year, and they still had 8 people.
Hey, at least there's a DJ playing music.
That's true. State of the art bathrooms. Tulsa Temple was my number one too. So nice play there, but
I don't get rain man cold, but they're counting down 7-6-5.
Guess where I'm taking you? It's already been played. USC at Maryland should never happen. The game sucks. It's a horrible fucking game.
This is a landmark moment. This is our first top 30 and also what the fuck game of the week.
I have zero interest in watching this game. If they put it on a weekday, I would watch it still, but I think like Florida International, UTEP would be more appealing to me than USC and Maryland. I think it's terrible for the sport, and may God have mercy on your soul. Your thoughts? We already did this, I guess.
I tried to sell it, but yes, this game sucks. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Where you going?
I don't get rain man cold,
but
they're counting down 7-6-5.
Of course, it's Ball State against Vanderbilt. This game sucks.
You're a Ball State fan. Opportunity to knock off the big bad SEC.
Maybe there is some reason to watch this,
dude. It's UCLA Rutgers that should have been on here. I would also
Those
argue
are two decent teams, though.
That game sucks, dude.
Even though what that game represents is everything that is wrong with college football, and that is a reason to hate it. It's also two bowling teams.
I'd also
in Power 5 conference.
I'd also put UCLA ain't bowling shit this year. I'd also put Nebraska, Indiana in that list. Those are two teams that didn't bowl. But we've said our piece. Let's get to our FCS game of the week. NC Nick, where are you taking us?
Well, obviously you already took the best game, which was the North Dakota State versus South Dakota State. So that's off the board. I'm taking you 9-4 versus 9-4. The Blue Hens versus the Spiders. Come on, Delaware against Richmond. Beautiful.
And the last time these teams will play, Delaware leaving for the FBS, Richmond going to the Patriot League next year. So a lot of change for both programs on the way. Patty, see your thoughts on Delaware at Richmond?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally two competitive teams. I want to say within the decade or since the turn of the millennium, both have won national championships. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Mike London, I don't even know who the coach at Delaware was. Richmond should be coming up to the FBS. They belong there.
Yeah.
They're a good program. I don't know.
They've been playing since 1881. Those bastards, and they need to jump up.
Maybe the winged helmet of Delaware gives them some clout in the FBS ranks, and they are a program on the rise.
All right, I'm taking you my top FCS game, standalone, NC Nick style. Weekday Nick, take this one. Brown is taking on Princeton. Ivy League weeknight football, and let me tell you, this one goes back. All right. I think this. I mean, all these Ivy League teams, their first games they ever played were like in a year after the Civil War. So this is just a classic Ivy League game, and it's nationally televised. Last season went to overtime. Brown took them down on October 14th. And they were competing tenants, Patty C. Your thoughts on this one, buddy?
It's Brown and who do we have? Sorry,
Princeton.
Brown and Princeton. Where is Brown located? Is that
Brown is in
New
York, right?
Where is Brown University?
Wait, no, Cornell's New York. Ithaca. Brown is Jersey, right?
Okay.
Wait, where's Brown? No, the Brown's Rhode Island. Brown's
I
Rhode
think you're
Island.
right.
Yeah.
Either way, Ivy League football. I mean, they're really the last vestiges, presumably, of pure football. I mean, I don't know that.
And they were the first.
Yeah.
In many regards.
Let's give the Ivy League its props.
They're in Providence too, by the way.
Yeah. NC Nick, weekday Nick, you gonna catch Brown Princeton Friday night?
I am cool with Northeast football on the FCS level, and I love a weekday game. Sure thing.
A lot of people think Michigan bit Princeton's helmets and uniforms. So
no, they haven't. That's fact.
Yeah. They really bit Delaware's.
All right, Patty, see where you're taking us in your final game. I'm surprised NC Nick didn't play Western Carolina Furman.
That is a fun one. Look, I'm taking us up to Northeast football. The Holy Cross Crusaders.
This is great. The Battle of Boston, Holy Cross, and Harvard. Way more interesting than anything Boston College has done.
The epitome of religious versus secular. Holy Cross, the Crusaders. Thank God they're keeping that mascot. And then Harvard, the biggest douchebags on the planet. I love it. This is a game that I kind of do want to watch. Actually,
I thought there's a name for this rivalry. I think there's a name for this rivalry. I just can't recall it.
The Tea Party battle.
If there's not, we need to make one.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, back to the days of Gil Fenerty. This game has been. I think it's something they played at like a baseball stadium last year. I could have swore this is a rivalry name. I just can't.
A wicked ass game.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, that's our show. Subscribe to the College Football Experience as we break down all 134 teams with a solo podcast for each and every team. Talking over, under, talking roster, talking transfer portal, talking schedule. Check it all out. Make sure you give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. Patty C's on Twitter at PattyC831. Give him a follow. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Follow. And don't forget, Big Ten shit is coming to your town. Look at it right there. The shittiest games each and every week coming to your city. So circle that. Get excited for Big Ten shit. Until next time, folks, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here. Run and shoot.